Here we are going to be talking about My Hero Academia Chapter 312, Hard Boiled Cop, Kaiju number 8, Chapter 33, or aka Episode 4, Kaiju number 8 Captured, and last but not least, Choujin X, the creator from same creator of Tokyo Ghoul. Let's start right now.
Hey, welcome Anime fans. How you guys doing? LegendDVash as always. Down below the Kim Games, RayApollo. Right here is JBXclusive and SamTheMangaMan. And we're here to do a full coverage of Shonen Ronin this episode 4. Where, like Sam mentioned earlier, we're doing Choujin X, Kaiju number 8, Hardboiled Cop, and Dolphin, and My Hero Academia Chapter 3, so the most recent chapter. And we discussed My Hero will be last. Time codes will be in the bottom for those that want to check out, and will be on the video as well. And definitely check out what you guys like. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to Shonen Ronins, where we cover the new weekly Shonen Jump magazine chapters that come out and what you guys want to be covered. Usually we cover Black Clover, but it's on break today. And in 2 weeks from now, on May 30th, we plan to cover JJK as well. So we're pretty excited for that. Any thoughts before we get into it, guys?
Nah, let's get it.
Please, let's go.
All right. So the first series we'll be covering is Choujin X. So I know that Sam is like a fan of the creator in Tokyo Ghoul. So what do you want to start it off first?
Sure, no problem. So this is Sui Ishida's next work after Tokyo Ghoul Re, from a very popular series that a lot of people love, Die Hard, not the anime for sure, because the anime is shit. Only the manga, definitely it's a Die Hard fan, it's the real fans is. And I actually like this of this world, because Choujin X, the great thing about Sui Ishida is his art is really unique and kind of weird. And like, because he actually draws a lot of monsters and creatures, and he actually does pretty well with the lore. And this entire chapter of 80 pages, it's actually not bad. I kind of want more story into it. Give me more of the world building, but we have an idea at least. Like, this world is contained with Choujin monsters of people who've mutated or took drugs or whatever it is that they're taken, and they turn into monsters in this world. And it seems like everybody is like their own villains, vigilantes, kind of, not, or anything they want. Basically, it's like a whole world of chaotic. Because like the first couple pages, it felt like Fire Force, when this weird villain, I'm guessing our weird villain dude, just literally puts people's heads on fire and then smoke and everything like that. I was like, and then the weird mystery of, hey, wait, all of them are still alive. How are they alive? It's a lot to go on. There's a lot to really go on for this story that we want more. And what's crazy enough, just like One Punch Man, it says next chapter soon. Never gives you an official date. Never really tells you it's weekly. Never tells you it's bi-weekly, monthly, or anything. Like, we're coming out new chapters when we come out with new chapters. James, Ray, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I thought it was fine. I think for a first chapter, because we read so many different things, I don't feel like it did enough to hook me. It seems pretty basic in the sense of, I mean, in order to destroy a monster, you have to become a monster yourself. It's kind of that same trope that we've seen 1,000 times over. But what I did enjoy, you know, I do like the art style. I do like the mystery surrounding the different abilities that you can have in this world. My favorite panel is the panel on the plane, where you can see the smoke coming out of his fingers, and he just sets the entire plane on fire. I thought that was really, really dope, actually. So if anything, I'm just really interested to see where it goes. The first chapter did enough that I want to see where it goes, but just like standalone chapter by itself, I was like, yeah, it's all right.
I mean, I also came away from it saying, oh, this was okay. I hope that they rebrand this one as a chapter 0, because this isn't a chapter 1.
Facts.
The next chapter will be chapter 1 is my hope. Because if that was chapter 1, okay. Like I'm not hating on it at all because like it's literally the first chapter, but it seemed like they were building up like they were showing you a bunch of different plot points that they could potentially go after the story gets going. Like they showed us like 3 different plot points, so I'm like, okay, well actually there's like 4 technically, and I also thought the art was okay. My favorite part was actually the 2 main characters' relationship. I was like, actually, this is kind of nice. Like we've seen something like it before, but it's like it's interesting because like the nerdy kid's the popular kid, you know, and the regular kid is the one that gets bullied for some reason. And so I'm like, okay, that's interesting, but like I'm really curious to see how this dynamic changes with what happens at the end of the chapter.
Right.
Because I'm like, are they going to be the same? Because the nerdy kids seem to be a little bit more eager for power, and that's never a good thing. You know, so I'm really curious to see how that turns out. But yeah, Sam is right when they say that the designs and the art are weird. So I think that's what kind of got me like curious about it, because like how weird are you gonna get? Is what I want to see.
So Ray hit on the nose for me of how I felt, because this is my first introduction to the creator of From Tokyo Ghoul and everything else. Like I've never read it or watched it yet, and I know everyone tells me their mom told me to read it instead. But I felt the same like James and Ray. The art and the character dynamic is what intrigued me more than the actual story. The plot was interesting. Like, okay, cool, this is an interesting plot. But the story of the first chapter felt like a chapter 0. Like it gave you like introduction of like the overall story, but I felt like I wanted more. And it gave me more of beautiful art and double spreads. That's why I was more intrigued by. Like, oh my god, this guy knows how to draw. Like, this guy's amazing. So it's like, okay, this, like, no wonder a lot of people love to read Tokyo Ghoul because of how great his pen mission is. So that's props to that. But I would say the plot, the story itself really didn't get me invested or got me more. It's more the plot itself got me more intrigued, like to know that I'm curious to see where else the story goes and what else is going to come down the road with the next chapter 1, 2, 3, whenever it comes down the road. And props to the creator to actually be like One Punch Man, because I know Ray sometimes texts her like, oh, finally, a One Punch Man chapter came out. Like, hasn't it been like 2-3 months? So like, I'm happy these creators have their time to take of it, and I'm glad Shonen Jump has this type of curse, like where some people taking by weekly, or like Kaiju, take their break of 3 weeks, 2 weeks, or anything like that. So I'm happy Shonen just giving these creators their kind of freedom, so that's good. But overall, I felt like the James and Ray, like, the art was fantastic. Like, there's some times where I just stared at the art and just saw how well the clouds look. Who the fuck stares at clouds? Me. I was staring at clouds like, yo, these clouds look so real. What the fuck? So it's creepy, but good creepy. So I enjoyed it, and I like what the chat said as well, that they didn't hear of the series, but to know that we're talking about it and know that some employees of noise from Tokyo Ghoul that they're gonna check it out. So please let us know what do you think about it. Come back on the video and let us know, because we would love to hear other people's thoughts as well.
And I guess I like, outside of like the actual chapter itself, I'm really curious to know why people weren't so excited about this. Because every time somebody's like Tokyo Ghoul, they're like, "Ah, Tokyo Ghoul is amazing." So you would think that crowd would be super excited about the next work by the creator. So I'm like, I guess I don't know what's up with that.
I mean, do you think Samurai 8 has anything to do with it? I'm not saying I think that, but do you think like them people seeing, well, this came off of, the creator of Naruto, and it didn't really, last that long, even though it was entertaining. Do you think that had anything to do with it? Why people were apprehensive to pick it up right away?
I honestly don't know, because I'm like, yeah, that like I think we all know that that's always a chance of happening like that. Just because it's their second thing doesn't mean it's going to be just as good as the first one.
Right.
But I don't know. I just feel like Tokyo Ghoul fans are like, they're always super like on about Tokyo Ghoul. Usually people I've met, no offense to those folks, Tokyo Ghoul is like their favorite thing, and so it's like, I guess I'm like, I don't see y'all talking about this. So,
and plus, it's crazy how with one chapter or like chapter 0 and everything, there's a lot of fan art from the series. Like I saw like almost 10 or 15 fan art, so, like, and like that's good.
Folks are really passionate about it. So I guess that crowd is kind of quiet, which is also fine. So we'll see. I'll be curious to see what when it gets its Shonen Jump cover page, how people react to it, because that's usually when they pop off, at least a little bit.
True.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Question for you guys: what do you think of his bestial form?
Of the owl, I think it's very symbolism.
You thought that was an
That's
owl?
an owl? I think
Sorry.
that's supposed to be a vulture.
So vulture, sorry, vulture. My apologies.
So
I just felt like it's owl.
Just chat. I understand.
That's a fact, definitely not. But I found it very symbolism for what his childhood trauma, I think, is trauma in a
I
way.
mean, they kind of did go into that. They explain where like the young kids compare him to a vulture because he's like a buzzard, and buzzards are like what takes the remains of the people, like of a corpse. He just eats the leftovers of.
I
someone
mean,
else's
they basically
mindset.
gave him the cool version of a leech.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like
Just at first-
more mean kids would have called him a leech.
So
No.
also the reason I thought it was an owl is because I recently saw the film of Bad Blood of Core of Owls as well. So I was like,
Oh, you watched that? Good stuff.
yeah. So that's why like Core of Owls mask, with the long beak and everything. So that's why I thought, oh, looks like a vulture, but in my head I just put it as an owl. So that's just on me.
I mean, that mask also reminds me of Tokyo Ghoul as well. Like he actually kind of used the same kind of artwork that's from Tokyo Ghoul and put it onto this work too, which doesn't always have to be it's not a bad thing.
So the symbolism I pulled from that is a plague doctor.
Yeah.
Is the way it looks to be. It's like, so maybe this is the person who's supposed to get rid of whatever is happening, but it's seen as a plague. So
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I
too.
see that.
And then like what's weird is you see him doing his bestial mode, but his friend, nothing happens to him.
So-
Not yet.
I thought we saw like electricity come off of that panel just ever so briefly.
Wasn't it when the flower or dandelion blown away or something? Some
No,
kind of
so like
symbolism?
when he gets punched in the face by the dude.
Mhm.
So on page 69, nice.
Mhm.
There's, I don't know if that's like to be like indicating of like him noticing something else, or if it's electricity coming off the friend.
Interesting.
I can like that panel of 74 and 75 of it in the moon and everything. That's a crazy symbolism. That's actually I think that's a number. I search it up. I think it's like a demon number or something like that.
John
it's pretty
would
weird.
know. Ask him when you see him.
I don't
Yeah, when
know,
jump up to
man.
like, but that panel itself, in the last panel of page 76 and 77, is like, okay, that looks creepy as hell with that cloak and everything. Like, creepy, but cool.
I don't know. So I'm just like, all right. I think the thing I'm most curious about, of course, is the Choujin process. What is it? How did it come about? And where does it sit in the actual world itself? Because obviously it's like known but not known. So that's what I want to know about the most. Like that is what I'm curious about. So yeah, give us some more of this. I'm really, really, really wanting to see what's up.
Yeah.
All right, so we're all going to transition to Hardboiled Cop.
Sounds
I mean,
good to me.
yeah, I will recommend that folks read this chapter 0 just to kind of like get a feel for what it's gonna be like. But I'm gonna wait a few chapters unless some people jump on like, oh god, that's amazing. I'm gonna wait for like 3 more chapters to come out and then read those and see how I feel then. So we'll talk about it after there's a few more chapters out again. So we can keep it in a rotation. It's just gonna move down quite a bit. So
Understandable.
Yeah, for me, I definitely recommend just checking it out to see if you're interested in it for sure. There's definitely a lot of panels in here that I think the artwork is really, really good, and the mystery surrounding this world, like Ray was talking about with the Shoujin and everything, that's really what I'm curious about in the future chapters. I'm gonna wait for a couple more chapters to build up, and then I'll start from 1 again and then binge read it and see how it goes and see how I feel about it. But yeah, definitely pick it up, see how you guys feel about it.
I mean, and as you can tell by our energy levels, we all weren't like super hype on it. So just
Except
that's
Sam.
what you were waiting to find out. We're all kind of.
I feel like the world, we've seen it before, like James said, but yeah, we're more curious about the world than really about the main character. But the
For
dynamic.
now, I mean, we really didn't have much to go off of with them. So I mean, that's
True.
That's gonna be okay.
So this is most likely will have to be chapter 0, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Of the next following chapter of 1, And
Right.
yeah, we'll let it build
Yeah,
up.
I don't know why they didn't just call it Chapter 0 because this reads so much like a Chapter
Chapter
0.
Zero,
Yeah,
right?
like a
Almost.
whole one-shot thing. And we've seen a lot of one-shots in Shonen Jump. It's like, all right, we're gonna see how the popularity poll is, and if you guys really like it that much, then we'll start making a continuous weekly series or something like that, or however it's gonna work. But just like Samurai 8's Arthur Kishimoto, I guess, like Vash said, give Ishida more time for this work.
I don't know. Which this is new to my knowledge. Like they've Shonen Jump's always been kind of like schedule driven. Like they're like, hey, these have to be done by this time, and for them to like be giving people more time to tell their stories now is, oh no, I like it. So I remember how we've talked about like we hope that they create like a separate like publication that lets them tell like more adult oriented stories and
Yeah.
give that more focus. I hope that's kind of an
I feel
indication
like-
that that's what we're about to get.
I feel like that's
this-
the
also-
evolution of where they're heading to. Because what happened with Chainsaw Man, like some creators have, complained like they feel rushed sometimes. They cannot get the art. Like
Have
Black
that
or
creative
Tabata
writing
have said
freedom.
that
Exactly.
before. So like maybe they have noticed, like, you know what? A lot of our creators have been complaining. I think we should improve in this. So I feel like that's where they came to the conclusion.
Well, I
like,
mean, and they're also in a space now that they've never been in before, where there are so many people where it's widely available for folks to read, and now they have a lot more like people who have opinions on the stuff that's in the publication. So I feel like they're also like seeing it's like, oh shit, we have a larger audience to capture and keep now. And so we
Yeah.
have to do something to keep those people reading and keep paying for our servers. So I don't know if they release numbers about like, stuff like that, but I'd love to see how much money they've made since the app went
Facts, yeah.
they haven't
like,
I would
they
love
haven't
to know
given
like how many
international.
subscribers.
They haven't
would
given
love to
any
see some
number.
numbers like that. Yeah.
I haven't seen throughout the months, or because they gave, actually it's been almost 2 years, because they gave it in December 2019 when they announced the Shonen Jump Vault being
Shonen Jump
$3
app. Yeah.
or $2.
So
yeah, $2.
I would really love to know how much money have you made, or how many subscribers do you have for this?
I've also realized that this, like when I did my reread, they kind of censored a lot of the stuff. I'm pretty sure there was like some other stuff that they could have write in, but I guess when it comes to Shonen Jump, it's more kid friendly. I guess the more
It's
like,
well, it's supposed to be. I mean, that's
Yeah.
Shonen is like they're supposed to be stories for younger folks, but it just kind of evolved over time, and they didn't change the name. So that's why I'm hoping like Jump Plus really does get a thing, and it's marketed towards folks more our age. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and like with their app, hopefully they understand like with Jump Plus, Jump Square, and whatever the other Jump name with, because I know they have like
Jump
4.
Giga.
Yeah, Jump Giga. Like I hope they start to understand like, hey, we have a service like where they just pay $2. Like if you guys want, just raise it to 5, where you could just add Jump Square, Jump Giga, like all of these things, so it's easy accessible for readers to read, where we don't have to read it on the scams and everything. Is much easier because people will pay for it. Like we've been.
It's also there's like licenses and like the whole publication, and we need translators too. I mean, all that stuff can apply. I mean, you open up more jobs, you open up more mangas and everything to the public, to people to freely read. And like, what's more better to just keep it all within one app of Viz or Shonen Jump? The only thing that you best need to improve is probably get another server or two, just so that you can contain all that amount of data and information.
I guess I just want to know how. I just want to know how this process works. Like, I'm more curious about the process of now getting stuff on the Shonen Jump app and pushed like to us. Like, I really, really want to know. So, if y'all know somebody out there who could talk to us about that, I'd love to, chat them up, get them in here.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I've mentioned this before, but if there's one thing that I would change about the app, is like the account should sync across devices. Like I think it's so stupid that your account doesn't sync across your devices. It's ridiculous.
Tell them. Talk
Not
to
even
them.
not even to the desktop, to like one mobile device. It doesn't sync anywhere.
Anywhere. So I have to like keep a running list, like just in my head of where I've read what.
Or maybe just download AniList.
No.
I don't
No.
need another app to track what I'm doing, bro.
That makes absolutely no sense. Like,
It's like,
Disney
yes,
Plus
let me
remembers
go
what
ahead
I've
and-
watched.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not downloading an app to keep track of the things I watch when the app should be keeping track of the things that I watch and read.
Thank you, James. Thank you. Thank you very
All
much.
right. I guess I lose the argument there. But
It's not an argument. It's not an argument. It's cold hard facts.
All right, but that's enough of Choujin X. Hopefully, we give you guys a good review segment of what is the series about, what's our excitement, what are we want to see with this series overall. And with Black Core being on break, we asked our audience, what do you guys want us to read and talk about and discuss? And you guys have told us for weeks and months to talk about Hardboy Cop and Dolphin. And here is the segment for us to talk about. Now, all of us are cut up. Two of us are cut up fully. The other two is not. So we're not giving a full dive spoiler. We're giving an overall discussion and thoughts. James and Sam, what do you guys want to go first?
James?
Sam?
I mean, I went first. Okay, I don't mind. So, Hardboiled Cop and Dolphin is actually really fun to read. I could starting from the beginning, like the first 20 chapters, let's say. It does give you hooked in with the comedy sense, the whole buddy cop thing, because it does start from there where this partnered cop, ex-cop, did not do well in where his precinct is, where he was. So they just pretty much, instead of firing him, they just transfer him to another unknown place where he caused less trouble. Next thing you know, this entire island is trouble, and this is the place like where he needs to be. And you have a whole... This is how I started. I thought it was like Fox 5 kind of buddy cop shows like that, like Lethal Weapon or all that other stuff like that. But then it starts getting more interesting, and then starts getting more details into it. And then after some more lore and some underwater fantasy stuff kind of story into this, it starts evolving much more than a Fox 5 show. It goes into like an ABC television buddy cop show thing, which is really fun, which is very unique. James, you want to come into it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I love Hardboiled Cop and Dolphin. Like, I think the art's really, really good. I think this manga fits into like this very niche area where it's just so unique. Like, I can't think of very many like buddy cop like mangas that are out there. And then on top of that, they put it through the manga anime lens where these characters are on this island. You have all of these different sea creatures that are evolving into different things, and that's what this cop and dolphin have to battle. So I absolutely love this manga. I'm only on chapter 16. I had a lot going on this week and yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to catch up, but this is something that I highly recommend reading. Again, it's so different from everything else that's on Jump right now in terms of everything that I've seen, so I cannot recommend it more.
And for me to add, I would just like to add to what they were saying. Something that intrigued me in the beginning of the story is that they said that with Earth and the planet Earth, we only know, what's on land, but to know what's underwater, we know nothing to what is down in the deep sea. So that really found my interest in it, because we barely know what's in space, and we don't know what's in our own planet underwater. So I found that so fascinating to know a creator could really explore that process or that idea. I find it so fascinating because you could literally do anything with it. You could do any type of sea creatures, like, imagine if it's Aquaman but in a manga. So it's very fascinating. But instead of Aquaman being made fun of, you have a whole dolphin. So that is pretty fascinating to me. And what's pretty interesting, like, a lot of people can make fun that there's some type of gag moments, but there's it's Shonen Jump. It's a series. They have a Meet and Robocall in the whole magazine. Like, what do you expect from the magazine itself? There's One Piece, a lot of gag moments as well but for this series, I feel like you need gag moments because in the most recent chapters there isn't a serious story-driven plot. So before this story-driven plot happened, there was gag moments around the house. So like for these type of moments, it has to happen to kind of relieve the pressure, relieve the stress. It happens in My Hero Academia as well. People forget they're kids in school, but also with real life crisis. So I feel like I enjoyed this series for what it is, and the comedy is there. The double spreads are amazing when they're there. So I really have been having a great time. One of the most recent chapters that Ray could agree with me, right, Ray?
Absolutely, man. And it's one of those things where I'm like, again, like we talked about with Sakamoto Days, these are the kind of serializations that I feel like kind of keep Jump afloat. You have the outliers like JJK and My Hero Academia and One Piece, but like it's these ones in between those that people just kind of pick up and read for fun that keep people picking them up and reading them for fun. And that's what I love about this one, but it's not only is that it's fun, it's good and it's interesting, and it keeps getting interesting. That's what I always like. It's like it doesn't just have an interesting moment; it keeps getting interesting, but it's also funny. Like there's there's one point early on where there's an old man driving a truck, and these two dudes come out and like kick his truck, and he gets pissed off and body slams the shit out of him, and it's hilarious. Like they were like, oh yeah, by the way, that old man who you just basically ruined his truck, he was like a world champion wrestler. And they're like, what? And then it's too late. He's getting suplexed into the ground, and it's hilarious. But I don't know, just the whole. I mean, it's basically the relationship between Dolphin and our hard-boiled cop, who basically, it's funny because like he was too extreme for the real world, but then they send him to a place where he's like at the bottom.
Go wild.
Well, it's like everything else around him is way more wild than he is, and so it's just that he fits in perfectly here.
I just love how he questions. He like, what the fuck is wrong with this place? He always questions himself in the head, like, is this shit even real?
I mean, but
like,
everybody's always. But did you notice that everybody's always questioning him? It's like, you're just a regular ass dude. What the fuck? And so I feel like that's hilarious too, because like while he thinks everything here is weird, they think he's equally weird, and he's like, there's nothing wrong.
You're like, I'm just chilling. I'm good.
Everything is normal here.
So I'm like, yeah, bro, I like this. And I feel like if you just want to have a fun story to read that is interesting, read this. And I'll say it's not really a good binge. It's not. So like you read a handful of chapters at a time, you take a break, do some other stuff. Read a handful of chapters at a time, you do some other stuff, and
I could
that's
see
how
that.
it goes. Yeah.
Because like
I feel like
when I was like reading it week to week, I had a hard time doing it because the story was a little bit like almost not as in pace if I were to read it week to week. But then after I let it build up and then I start reading a couple more chapters, pacing works really well together. The story's working pretty well, but then like eventually like you're gonna have to let it rest a little bit before you get a little too bored, and then like you just can move on to something else before you could come back into Cop and Dolphin.
I feel like the binge was better for me after like chapter 25. I think I think pacing got better within story driven after chapter 25 through 27. I feel like right there is when I didn't stop reading, because I was like Sam when I was doing my binge from chapter 12 to 24. I kept pausing every other chapter, or I went to look at my phone real quick and everything. But after chapter 27, I kept reading. I didn't really stop, so I just kept like the story kept pushing me to see the curiosity on more. And during the recent chapters, they were in a flashback telling us more about the Dolphin and the characters and everything like that. So I love how it kept driven. And when a writer is building a cast and understanding its own story, and when they get after a landmark, after, for example, chapter 25 or 30, like Kaiju, which we're going to talk about, I feel like they know what their story is going. And I feel like that's when they could tell they're pacing much better. And I feel like that's what happened for this story, Hardboy Cop and Dolphin, for me.
Yeah, I feel you on that. It's just, I don't know. I'm not really I don't like to just kind of like, unless it's a really, really good story, I'm not going to be the person who's like, yeah, I'm going to read all 120 chapters of this today. You know, right. It has to be a very, very, very good story. Of course. While this one it's fun, they're just things that I have other preferences to things that I enjoy. Right. So like this is a good time, but like I really like, my other shonen stuff. So like while I caught up on it, I was like, yeah, it's easy to catch up on, but it's like I would not like be like a sit down and be like, yeah, I gotta read all of this. So
I feel like Hardboiled Cop is gonna enter like a different like stratosphere once it hits like chapter 100, because the thing that intrigued me the most in the very beginning was just the mystery surrounding the 95% of the ocean and all of the things inside of it, all the creatures, the environment, everything that we don't understand, that we have yet to discover. So those are the things that I'm really, really interested in. And I feel like after chapter 100, we'll really get a chance to get into the nitty gritty of what this big world is supposed to be. Like, I feel like we're getting bits and pieces of it, but like, once we get there, like, I don't know, man, I think it's going to blow up.
Yeah, once you get a little bit closer to where it is currently, you'll be like, okay, I see. So, but it's good. Like I'm having fun, and that's all that matters.
I mean, I am getting a little bit of vibe of Yakuza as well, especially when it's a whole cops versus kind of mobs and mafias.
I mean, that's exactly what it is. It's the ocean Yakuza. So,
any last thoughts of Heartbreak Cop and Dolphin that you want to give to the audience?
Give it a shot. Like I know a lot of people are really like they look at like. So I would say that the general Shonen Jump readers only read it for the big ones. You know, give this one a shot. Like just give it the 5 chapter. Give it my 5 chapter rule. If you don't like it, I completely understand. But if you do like it, let me know because I would love to know what you like about it. So yeah, just give it 5 chapters. Give it a shot.
Sam, James.
Hey, Snubs, thanks for joining us in chat.
Hey.
Any last final thoughts?
He says only series he's for Cops and Dolphin. Definitely by the time we caught up, we'll understand what Ray was talking about with a little bit what's a little bit of a hint of more of the lore of the underground 95% city.
Definitely.
Hopefully it's still kind of like the comedy and the whole mystery thing surrounded by the hard-boiled cop himself, because that's kind of like where the core interest of the story is because the hard-boiled cop thinks this world is weird and this island, the island is weird, and island people think he's weird. But even if they were both even if he were to come to like figure out what's going on with this entire island, you still need that kind of dynamic where like, I mean, I get it, I know what you're coming from, but you're still weird. That kind of thing is what I get from Dolphin and Cop, hard-boiled cop and Dolphin. That sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the buddy cop genre, so I mean, this is right up my alley.
And that's why I like. That's why it's like because it's like, you know, I love stuff like Rush Hour and like Hawaii 5-0. Stuff like so. Like, this is good for me.
And that's how actually we kind of started with like the first 20 chapters in a way. They have new cases or different storylines. What's going on with our lives? What's going on with this life? We have to move, and then we have to move, and then we kind of have to stay together because you're after this little girl. It literally has all the formula stuff for a whole TV series buddy cop show kind of thing.
Yeah, and I'm like, I actually would like to see this as an anime. To be honest, I think it'd be fun. Straight up.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think that's where it might get the bulk of its popularity. Turn this into an anime, give this to like Bones or like A1 or some shit. Like I feel like it would smash, bro.
I feel like somebody that knows how to draw water animation very well, because this involves a lot of water animation. So I feel like that would be very perfect for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh man, yeah, that'd be fun. I'm about it. I'm about that life. Man. What's the studio that did the Free Swim anime? I want them to do it.
The Free Swim? I don't know what series is that.
No, the one about the
swimmers. Called Free. It's called Free.
Yeah.
I do not know. I thought you were talking about.
What is it?
Are you talking about the ass cheeks one? Are you talking about the ass cheeks fighting each other?
No, Joe.
Oh.
No, I'm talking about all the boys with the abs.
Boys with the abs.
It's like a comedy series too.
Uncultured swine.
I don't know why I'm thinking about Zac Efron. I don't know why I'm thinking about him.
The swim club thing?
No, it's literally just called Free.
It's called Free.
Oh, okay.
Kyoto Animation.
Kyoto. Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
They're great for it.
They would do a really good job with this.
They did a beautiful job. Me and Sam were watching Violet Evergarden, and we were like, damn, that water animation is fucking godlike.
Yes, it's about a swim club.
Yeah.
That makes sense then. So I don't mind them doing it.
I think that'd be fun.
All right, so for those,
sorry, go for it.
I was just gonna try to segue out there. So those that are read Heartbreak Cop and Dolphin, definitely check out the series if you haven't. And for those that really, let us know down in the comment section below. Tweet us if you're catching up. If we got you interested to read the series
at a time, like we said, like
read pieces or binge it. See what's your pacing for it as well.
Yep.
I think we're gonna add some more, but
just let me know.
Yeah,
I'm very curious to see what other people actually think of this series.
Yeah,
yes,
it's very unique. It's like you don't like. Yeah, it still has the comedy from Shonen,
and I don't see a lot of people talking about it. So that's why I want to know what people think about it.
You haven't really seen like cops and robbers kind of manga that's happening into Shonen Jump anyway, like this. So it's unique into this.
I agree. So, guys, so let us know what you guys think about it in the comments below. So, let's jump into for Kaiju number 8, chapter 33 review. So, yes, this one will start our review segment. So, let us know what you guys think about it in the comments below because this is a spoiler section. So, this would be leading up to chapter 32 from when we spoke about 2 weeks ago because that was giving our overall thoughts. But James, since you weren't in that review segment, what do you want to give your quick overall thoughts of Kaiju number 8 before we jump to chapter 33 review?
Oh yeah, for sure. This is another manga series that would hugely benefit from being an anime. Besides the major titles in Jump right now, I personally think that Kaiju number 8 is probably the best thing on the app. Right, like right under the biggest titles on Shonen Jump. I love Kaiju number 8. I love kaijus, and I love what they've done with this world, man. Like the exosuits, and the whole point of the exosuit is that each individual person has to bring their own physical strength, their mentality, their aptitude in order to unlock all of the different abilities from the suit. I love Kafka. He is a great character. I love all of his comedic moments, all of his serious moments. He's definitely a character that I want to follow at all times. Like I love this guy. And he is someone who has absolutely no problem diving headfirst into battle, even if he didn't have powers. This, much like in chapter 32, where the captain told him, like, yeah, the moment you ran off, and I was surprised to see you turn into a kaiju, but that was such a Kafka thing to do, right? So this character is very much a true hero, and I love it. The character designs of the kaijus, the character designs of the kaiju shifters, it's all great, man. Like everything about Kaiju number 8 is firing on all cylinders. This is a very unique title where it's like pretty much everyone in the 3rd division, I like them all. They each have their own individual quirks that I love. Now, I can't remember all of their names off the top of my head, but I love all of them individually. Like, if you were to tell me, yeah, this guy's going to get a spin-off series, I would read it. You know what I mean? Like, all of these characters have something unique to what they bring to the division. They all have their own unique motivations as to why they joined the organization. And I love it, man. I absolutely love it. Ishigawa is becoming one of my favorite new secondary MCs. Like, this dude's amazing, man. Like, all of these characters are amazing. And I can't wait to see where Kaiju number 8 goes in the future, man.
Big same, bro. I told people when I first found out that Kafka was like 30 something years old, I was like, okay, that immediately is like, oh, not a 17-year-old boy that somehow finds power and has to save the world. Thank you. I was like, I would love to read that, and I have not been disappointed a single minute of me reading this series. The premise is interesting. The characters, like James said, are also interesting. I love the weapons. Like I love series that like create their own styles of weapons and how they use them, and I'm all about that. And like it just the way that the kaiju fight is also different. They're not just these. They're not all just these giant like I'ma smash everything characters. Some of them are, because I mean obviously, but then you have ones that are more tactical in how they fight, and you know, it's some of them are real flashy and it's beautiful. Like the art in this is absolutely some of my favorite stuff in Jump right now. Like because it's clean and you can actually see everything that's happening. Not just like big beautiful double spread where you have to pay attention to every single one. No, you clearly see everything that's happening. Double spreads, and I love that about that art. But yeah, Kafka is one of my favorite characters in Jump period right now. But also so is the captain. This last chapter solidified that for me.
I was about to say that.
Yes, that was what I was hoping for. I was like, please don't do that thing that they do where they're like, no, I hate you now. Like, yeah. Oh, thank God. I was like, no, that's her friend, and I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I wanted.
Can I piggyback off of that real quick? Sorry, Vash, I didn't mean to get in the will of what you were saying, but I love that moment where they're in the back of the van and it's like, yeah, don't worry, like everyone in the 3rd division, like we don't see you as a threat. We have your back. You saved us all. Everything that he's done up to this moment has been to preserve their lives, and they all see it. I feel like when that happens in other mediums and other stories, it's just cheap drama to introduce into the story. You know me. You know my heart. You know who I am. Like all I want to do is fight. When is help everyone. Like when the vice captain was fighting Kaiju no.8, he could tell that Kafka was never trying to attack him. It was all dodging, right? He was dodging the entire time, trying to get out of the way. So I love that they brought that in. I hate that stupid drama bullshit because we're gonna get all of that stuff from the general and the heads of the divisions, right? Yeah. So that's where we're going to get that hate against Kafka. So we don't need that in the middle of the team. But go ahead, Vash.
James, you said it perfectly, because I was going to bring up how we have such a great female cast, because not just the Captain Mina, but also the General's daughter, our Gershon Moya. Like, to know that she has a freaking axe, fucking like axe hammer, that's freaking awesome. In that panel, Double Spread, where she came in and I've asked her, hey, we have a special weapon for you only because of how much you can special utilize the suit. Like that panel, all of us in the group just said, yo, this is awesome of her character, so I love that very much. And what Ray and James brought up, this chapter 33 of where the captain told her, like, when Kafka asked her, like, hey, can I still fight by your side? That's still my goal. And she didn't turn him down like some type of usual plot. She said, yes, you can, because she still believed that that's her childhood friend. And the whole Division 3 back her up as well, saying that we support him, and how she got mad, but also she was happy that his boy Ichikawa even went up to her, saying like, hey, I hope you come back to base. And she was mad, like, oh, he's gonna get reprimanded, but at the same time she was happy, like that is his friend, and he backed him up. So I love that. Like this chapter 33 felt so fucking quick, because when I read, I'm like, damn, there was too many double spreads, because I read this shit too quick. So I'm like, then the general happened, this happened. I'm like, I kind of wanted more from 33. I'm like, damn, we got to wait to Thursday. I wanted like 2 chapters. So like, it shows when you want another chapter of how good it was. It was emotional, and it gave us a story, because we getting the general, we getting the head of old people. The old people have their own way. So I love that very much. Sam?
So yeah, this chapter was definitely a huge turning point, because like they all realized that they're running out of people. The birth rate is low. They need more platoon. That's why they have the whole age restriction to go higher and higher. And now they have a secret weapon, it turns out, because they know like the kaijus around this world is mutated. They're getting smarter. Somehow there's more giant dai kaijus. Because they numbered each and every one of them. Right now they're up to number 10, which is the last guy that just killed and just got his head. And we know where he's going to end up. It's either he's going to turn him into a whole big ass bodysuit for another soldier for them, or like use him like an AI, or whatever happens. But to know, like,
Sam, you know the kaiju are gonna get him back. Let's be real.
I was just gonna say, kaiju number 9 is definitely getting away, bro.
Hell yeah,
exactly. But the thing is, like, we learn more that this entire platoon is literally the hope of the entire human race, basically. And like, they're new, but they actually have really good skilled soldiers, and now they have a kaiju soldier himself, which is Kafka. Even though like their usual platoon is lock him up or kill him, use his armor, whatever, as like we are even more weaponized and everything, like they usually do in military. No, basically this entire platoon, the vice captain, the captain herself, is defending him, where he can actually be our hope for the human race in this entire future. I could definitely see like this entire platoon, just because they're trying to protect him, they would put Kafka in the front line, because he's the strongest, and he is someone that they can like, all right, we don't care if he lives or dies. If he dies, we could just use his like materials and make our own weapons. If he lives and he helps defends more and pretty much makes way through the entire world of kaijus, even better. So they have no losses if they were to consider putting him in the front line, but also puts that entire platoon into that front line with him, because they have his back. They would defend him. They're not willing to let him die and sacrifice himself for everybody else. If he's able to protect us, we'll protect him. That's the whole entire mentality of soldiers. We are brothers and sisters into this war. We're in this battle together. We're not separate. What's even more to defend is the vice captain. He respects him a lot more. because like he probably has a new training buddy if you think about it in that sort of way.
Yeah.
The captain herself, she thought that her childhood friend was not going to be there by her side to fight with.
That is true.
That promise was broken when she just found out that he is Kaiju number 8. It technically brings in a new hope for her. Like, so he's keeping his promise. He remembers that promise. And like, nice to see him being a soldier. He making it. Next thing you know, he's actually a lot stronger than he thought. She's seeing it more day by day for every steps and new challenges that he's going through. He can literally be right next to her to fight by her side. And that's what brings her hope. Like, she remembers the promise. He's actually a lot stronger than I thought. Yeah, he may be a kaiju, but he still has his brain of a human. He still has his mind. He still has his soul. He still wants to protect humans. He still wants to do what he wants to do when he was a child. There's nothing more than I can want. I want to support this guy. I want to save his life. And we already know, like, the military cannot last without me as the captain himself. So knowing that if the captain and vice captain are willing to defend Kafka for Kaiju number 8, they can't lose both of them. So it works out in both ways. I think they have the leverage, if you ask me.
These next couple of chapters is going to tell me everything that I need to know about the general. Because if the general's smart, he would instantly see Kafka as an asset, right? Yes, in chapter 33, he was talking about killing him. But I think once he talks to Kafka, and I hope once he talks to Kafka and he talks to Mina and the vice captain and he sees all of the reports, he's a smart person that puts all of this data together. Kaiju number 8 has never harmed any human being. Kaiju number 8 has protected and members of Division 3. Kaiju number 8 has minimized damage to entire like parts of the city. Like, there's only benefits, especially knowing that the other side has 2 humanoid kaijus that we know about. You can have your own version of that. On top of that, Kafka truly understands the physiology of kaiju. So if this general is smart at all, if he is any type of a good tactician, what he would do is put him under, much like in Attack on Titan, put Kafka directly under the captain and the vice captain. So if anything happens, they can take him out, right? But use him. This guy is the perfect weapon against the other side because there's so much mystery surrounding them that we know nothing about. So instead of dissecting him and try to learn things about him that way, use him. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm hoping for the general.
Instead of using us to kill him and then use his body parts, why don't we just let the other kaijus like have their way with him? If he could destroy them all, perfect, great. Helps us, benefits more. And if he dies within that battle, that's fine. We'll just recycle his body. That's literally the main sport. The thing is, this general, this captain, he is very old school. We remember correctly. This is the father of the girl, Shimanoya's his father herself, who's old school, very strict, all about the studying, all about the work, all the whole peer pressure and everything. And we know these kind of characters. They are very old school until they are reluctant to all right, we have no choice. Since everybody's kind of against my orders of executing Kaiju number 8, we'll do it your way, but we're gonna do this where we have no losses, no sacrifices, and only benefits us, which is to put him in the front line or use him as last emergency kind of thing, we just saw from.
It just depends. It just depends where the story's gonna go with, because I'm also curious what the chat even brought up. What do you guys think happened to numbers 1 through 7 kaijus? Were those the beginning of the kaijus where it got taken out? Because we know that they named them when they're a threat, how big they are and everything. That's why it's named Kaiju number 8. So it's really curious to know what happened through 1 through 7. Cause I'm very excited with this story driven right now plot to know, are we gonna know more about the war? Is there some type of secret division? Because we know that his division is called Division 3. Is there how skillful is Division 1 and 2? That's what I'm most curious to see.
So let's be real about it real quick. Look, we know that the humans made these kaiju human hybrids. Okay,
Yeah.
it's not like somebody went and banged the kaiju. All right, they did some scientific experimentation, and then they figured this out, and then somebody stole it, or one of the original ones took all of it and went and made more because they're like, hey, F the humans, we can be stronger, and they made their own thing. You know what I'm saying? Because remember that the fly that found Kafka was sentient.
Right. Still creepy, yeah.
And so we still don't know anything about where that came from or why it chose Kafka. So, like, there's a whole big part of the story we're still missing. And I know that they're going to realize that when it comes to it's like, oh, well, shit, how did you become a kaiju? They're going to be like, oh, wait, so you weren't just a kaiju? No, it's like, no, I was a regular ass dude that one day just fly flew down my throat.
That's still creepy as hell. Like, just knowing they just went through.
Exactly. And so I feel like it's more... That old man will only be convinced by what he sees.
Right.
And so ain't nobody gonna be able to like physically tell him anything unless he like truly does have a soft spot for his daughter, which I could also see them using that as a point.
Yeah.
Right.
It'll be what he sees. So he'll have to see Kafka and be like, all right, bet. Yeah, we could use you for weapons, but we've seen the data every single time that he showed up and how powerful he is. There's no way they don't use him. All we gotta do is show him the data. Like every time this dude has showed up, it's been ridiculous.
Ray, to prove your theory of what you said that they've been doing this, in the chat they brought up in the first page of the chapter, one of the head people in the council said, I also heard a certain country is experimenting with kaiju to human tissue transplants. They will insist having a say on this. So you are 100% correct on this.
But think about it. Well, I mean, we already knew that though because their suits are made from kaiju skin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Their suits, their weapons, everything.
Fibers. Yeah. So like it's obviously something they've been doing. So yeah, I'm sure they've been like trying to make their Captain America kaiju, you know, by splicing DNA with
Captain Japan
kaiju stuff. So it's like I'm like, yeah, this is something they've been doing, and I'm just curious to see the human factor of this, or are they aliens? Who knows? Because you know our cycle of villains. If it's not humans, it's aliens. If it's not aliens, it's the church. And if not the church, it's the government.
I was just gonna ask a question, right? Do you think Kaiju number 9 and this other humanoid kaiju that we saw, do you think that they're kaijus that found a way to turn human, or do you think that they're humans who see like what like the divisions are capable of and decided to defect? And then they found a way to, you know, add kaiju DNA into
third option, space.
That's the most
from space as well.
They could be aliens.
I don't want them to be
I don't want
space.
that.
I want it to be more grounded. I want it to be more grounded to where it's like it's either there's humans, much like in My Hero, like there's people who see the hero society as the villains. So I kind of want something similar to that, where it's like these humans see that the division isn't as helpful as people think they are because they're experimenting on soldiers or just like regular people behind the scenes, or it's kaiju trying to infiltrate the human factions and found a way to turn and to get a human form. So that's one of the two ways that I would like. I don't necessarily
and we could also see that like somebody will know that this is the human's fault. Like this is like they did this to themselves.
Man-made, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or like the kaiju existed always, and then the humans decided to try to get rid of them, and so the kaiju retaliated. Who knows?
Right.
So,
it could be something like that. That's what I love about the story. There's still enough stuff that's interesting. Like they've been telling us a whole ass story, but there's so much more of the story. Like we're seeing the tip of the iceberg. You know that iceberg meme? We're literally there's so much more we can see, and I'm really excited about it.
That would be really dope because much like Titans and like the monster universe with like Godzilla and Kong and stuff, they were around way before us. So what if the kaiju were around before humanity?
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
They're trying to reclaim their lands, bro. I mean, there's a lot of different ways it could go, but I'm loving Kaiju number 8, man. This shit is sick.
There's a lot we can go into for this kind of series because anything that has to do with kaijus, popularity will skyrocket up, and anybody would come and read this. And with Kaiju number 8's story, it's very interesting. You have enough plots that's hidden, and that's also plots that everybody's so curious about to learn more of, and as well as the artwork and drawn and the weapons. That I think that's like key for anybody that loves kaijus, wants to read this.
Oh, for sure, definitely.
Sure. Definitely.
One of my favorite things is that Mina uses this tiger to like brace herself while she's shooting the giant.
I mean,
gun.
you gotta expect a
Absolutely
recoil.
ridiculous.
The recoil.
But Sam, she's using a tiger.
Yeah,
It's just so dope, man.
They have to explain the tiger. Please explain the tiger. I gotta know.
If that's literally her pet or something, like literally what she trains with, like imagine if the pet's her partner, like, all right, cool, I'm gonna do this whole bullet gun. All right, pet, you hold me. All right, tiger. Boom, like that's a wild shit. Like,
yeah. I've been raising this tiger since he was a cub.
And I hope the tiger has been enhanced with.
Oh, it has to be
in some way.
Imagine
Because with the recoil from that blast, I don't give a shit how physically big that tiger is. There's
have
no
to have
way
some
we'll be
super
able to
strength.
handle the recoil. So there has
I mean,
to be.
I'm sure
suit.
they've modified.
Imagine if that tiger is like the panda, like JJK, and knows how to fight to a kaiju. That'd be some wild
That'd
shit.
be dope. Yeah,
That'd be some
really
wild
dope.
shit.
Why else would she have a tiger with her? It's not just a stool for her to like brace herself on. I'm sure they fight together.
Yo, the fight thing is, I want to see that happen. Like, yo, like scrap the hands or scrap the paws. That'd be some wild shit.
I wonder if she named it Byakko, the lightning tiger.
I will laugh if that shit comes to be true. I wonder what the design is. I don't think we have seen a color page of the tiger, so that'd be pretty dope.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
Chris, I have to give a little pushback, man. I don't know if I would want Mappa to do Kaiju no. 8 because Mappa's animation style is too smooth, right? Like I feel like Kaiju no. 8 is super sharp, and I need an animation studio that does like super sharp animation, if that makes sense.
I get it too, because when it comes to Studio Trigger, it's not really sharp. It's just blunt force.
Nah, bro.
animation
Get
kind of
it us to Ugodable. Give it to him. Give it to Ugodable. I'm all in.
Ugodable would really make this good. Like the kaiju's looking design. Oh, that'd be amazing. I feel like with
Ufotable do Railgun? Because maybe the studio that did Railgun.
I do not know that from the top of my head, so I would not know. Maybe we could use our
Because that's
so-called
really good
internet.
animation too.
Let me see. Well, railgun, real quick. Railgun.
A certain scientific railgun.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna remember what you were talking about. I'll be right back. I gotta do something real quick.
That was JC Staff. That was JC Staff that did railgun. So definitely railgun. JC Staff ain't that bad either. They do some interesting work, so I don't mind if they did that. So overall, any last final thoughts on Kaiju no. 8 of what could be happening for chapter 34 this coming Thursday? What do you guys like to see? Any last final thoughts?
I don't think that the general himself will like talk to Kafka. He'll just see his performance or just see him locked up kind of thing. That's sort of like a high general, like, I don't want to see him move. I don't want to risk anybody. Because they're trying to put him into like some kind of Pentagon area government kind of thing. Or their own prison. The last thing they want him is to be like released and going ham and wild. I mean, that's in his thoughts. Of course, Kafka is going to be like, nope, I'm just going to be a good boy. Just sit here, do nothing. Listen to what they tell me. Until like they tell me to go out in the field to fight. Basically it.
Yeah, I mean, in chapter 34, I'm looking forward to the trial, right? Because there has to be some sort of trial where Mina and the vice captain and the rest of the Division 3 will be able to defend Kafka, put up all of the evidence that shows this dude is not a threat. He's actually probably like one of the greatest assets that we could have on our side, especially not having any information on these humanoid kaiju. So I really hope that's the way it goes. But yeah, I think all of chapter 34 will be the trial. And yeah, I can't wait to see Mina and the vice captain defend him.
Cool. Ashton, thank you for that $20 donation, man, for the PC.
Hey, appreciate you, bro.
Sorry I missed the last stream. It's okay.
No
We're so
worries.
glad you're here now. Like we
You're here
we
all the
appreciate-
time, man. Appreciate you.
We appreciate you being here, and you're here for the Shonen Ronin. We spoke about Hardboy Cup and Dolphin. If you missed that, check out the time code down below later on for Hardboy Cup and Dolphin. We're here wrapping up for Kaiju no. 8, and I saw that can't wait for the anime. And do you guys think they will have any type of contingency plan for the Daikaiju? Most likely they definitely do, because this is the government.
Yeah.
they've been fighting kaijus for years, so they definitely have probably
the knowledge of
nuclear
them.
wars, some type of missiles. So they definitely have some type of weapons for it. So they definitely are ready for worst come to worst, and that's why these people are made generals, because they have done these type of crises like before, right?
I mean, like they've had kaiju number 1 through 7. There's got to be some reason for like why did they classify it as daikaiju? What did they do to handle them, or like what kind of weapon that they were able to use? Unless literally their only hope is the captain herself, then yeah, they probably are screwed.
But I'm curious to see that if there's
stuff,
if there's other captains higher than her, like, because for example, there are in Division 3, so there's Division 2 and 1. Like, I wonder if there's any higher people than her. Like, if there's a squad, if we're gonna get like a double spread of a squad coming out the door, like, there's always a squad coming out the door, looking little slow motion, little nice and smooth, and then have a little nice, probably a guy that has a shotgun or probably a pistol but shoots like straight, strong bullets and everything like that. So curious to see if we're gonna see that within the trial, or if one of the guards or if the general himself is gonna come up and say like, can these handcuffs or can this place hold him? Because obviously he's a kaiju, so I'm not sure if this place could even hold him. I hope we see
Definitely
Kafka I hope we see Kafka limits breaking, meaning like we haven't seen him struggle really, so I want to see what's his full potential as a kaiju number 8. I want to see what is his full power, like what else can he do other than punches. Like, can he do is he like Godzilla, can do like a full type of nuclear blast from his mouth? Can he do some type of electric power? Who knows? I'm curious to know if he has other powers than just what we have seen.
What if the chief, the commander, old dude, is also a pretty buff and powerful guy himself? Since like the reason why he's already up there and not just also commanding and leading. What if he wants to be the test trial for Kafka?
No, it would be very interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's wearing a suit in that panel, and that panel makes him look very, very strong, very mean.
He's always that stern, serious dude, mean old man kind of thing that you find from like Gran Torino. But sometimes like you see these characters, they're the high general chief, they only just lead, they don't need to go out and fight and command. But what if he's also a battle junkie himself, and like he was the key to take out the daikaijus or something like that? Because we also classify that there's other sections, there's got to be other divisions, there's also be other higher rankings, commanders, because we already know Mina can only do up to 96%. What happens where's the 100% difference? Are they gonna make a whole 97 to 100% difference of how much power they're capable of to enhance, to use from a kaiju themselves? And what if, and I'm just throwing spitballing here, within what happened to the rest of the daikaiju number 1 through 7, they make them into armors to give into the other commanders and captains. And like because of that, they're able to take on 100% and without all the stress and handling and stuff, because that's what they use them for as weapons. They can't just say like, I feel like because let's just dissect him, use him as armors, and like do what we usually do. Because like we gotta have to at least know like number 1 through 7, they didn't have like a mind or have the human mind that wants to protect humanity. They may have gotten out of control. They want to like destroy, destruction, and all the other kaijus of what we expect them to, what they expect them to. But to have one where a daikaiju is sentient, he wants to protect humanity. He has all his memories. He also has his passion to defend humanity. I can definitely say like, all right, this is a test where it happens where we don't need to cut him up, turn him into armor like we usually do. Let him be the soldier to fight. But at least number 1 through 7's armors onto the other captains and commanders and sections. And if worst case scenario, have the 1 through 7 armor of captains, commanders to take out Kafka.
I mean, that is interesting, but the thing is, it's on the physical human as to how much of the suit's power that they can even use. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter like what type of kaiju they get to make a suit out of. There's still people that won't be able to get past 30%. Yeah. So it's still on the physical host to unlock that kind of ability.
I'm hoping they make Kafka a suit that he can use the power of, because they understand him, but they don't want other people to know they're working with a kaiju. So they need to do something where he can use his power without actually turning into a kaiju, unless he absolutely needs to.
See, but that's the thing, though. I think it was chapter 32 or 31 where we're starting to see him being able to use his kaiju powers in his human form. So he was able to detect the other humanoid kaiju, and then on top of that, he was also able to use a small amount of his kaiju strength and speed in human form. So I personally actually don't want him to get a special suit. I want him to be able to use his physical powers in the suit that he already has.
So
I think that'll be more beneficial.
I want him to have a special suit for a specific reason, because we know how important it is for them to be working as a unit and as a group. If other people found out they were working with a kaiju, that would absolutely ruin morale throughout that core. So it needs to be something that he can use his abilities. Well, yeah, he can secretly use them every once in a while, but like when he's in action, like he needs to be able to just use them. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah, but I think that's what they're getting at, though. Like with us seeing him using more of those abilities in human form, I think that's laying the groundwork for over time. He will be able to just use like 50-60% of his kaiju strength in human form. So I don't see why he would need
let's be real about this, James, because we can go there. So think about it. He's gonna have to find. There's gonna be a limit here soon to what he can do. We haven't seen a limit yet.
Right.
He's gonna
exactly
need
what
something
you
to
mentioned
assist
earlier.
him.
Yeah.
He's not gonna. We're gonna find out what that is and how they're able to assist him in that regard. So what's going to be the limit? Why can't he use his powers all the time going forward? That he just isn't Kaiju number 8.
Right.
And plus to add also.
Go for it.
I just want to add, like, plus also, like, what the government said, like, the press, the public image, where they don't look like that they're working with a kaiju. So for them to need a suit for Kafka where he doesn't need to turn kaiju, or for him to use his power much easier so the public don't know that he's a kaiju, where if they're fighting to save people's lives, because remember in the beginning of the series, he saved that girl's life was scared of Kafka, even though he just saved her. But imagine him as a human, but use his powers from without turning. That girl would have been, oh, thank you very much, and been happy to see him instead of a kaiju looking creature. So I feel like that would have been more useful.
I see where you guys are coming from. But
I'm gonna help defend with James, because technically in the beginning of this entire time, when Kafka had to fight the other giant kaijus to save the little girl was not scared of Kafka, even though like he looks like an entire different monster of a kaiju himself.
I mean, she was just scared of what was going on in general. Like, there's two big ass monsters fighting in front of me, bro.
But like,
I'm not saying you guys are wrong. I'm not saying it's not like possible or anything.
Oh yeah.
But for me, if I'm looking at straight up the narrative, that's what they're telling us. They're telling us that he's slowly being able to use his kaiju abilities in human form. He was even surprised that he was able to sense that other kaiju without being in his kaiju form. So that's just me thinking like they're literally laying the groundwork as to the only reason why he can only use 1% in the suit. It doesn't even matter, because he'll be able to use his kaiju powers in human form. If it goes either way, I'll be perfectly fine with that. I don't mind it going the way that Ray and Vash is saying at all. Like, I don't think it's a bad idea or anything.
The only reason why I am like, I don't, I'm also fine with him using his kaiju powers. It's just, I think that for the sake of the story, that it currently doesn't make sense for him to just be using his kaiju powers out in public, especially if he's working with them.
See, but that's the thing though. If he's already wearing the suit, no one would know the difference, because it's not like his physical body changes in human form when he's using those abilities. So it's like, yeah, he's wearing the suit, so whenever they see his strength and speed,
maybe
that's what I'm saying. They're laying the groundwork. That's what I'm saying. They're laying the groundwork. In 32 and 31, we saw him use his kaiju powers in human form. So if he's in the suit, if people see him running really fast or using his strength, no one would know the difference because he's wearing a suit. They wouldn't know the difference.
We also haven't seen any like people in public, so I feel like most of the people who were in the army would know that
they're targeting the military.
They would know that he wasn't able to use like 1% of his suit before, so now all of a sudden he can use like 80% like the captain. That's weird. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I said the groundwork. Like, this is stuff that's gonna pay off like later on throughout the series.
And like what I'm saying is,
I just need them to make sense soon, because
right. Because I mean, In the other case, right? What would be the point of showing us that he can use these abilities not in kaiju form if we're not going to see him raise that percentage in human form at some point? Again, that's just my thought.
I mean, I'm sure we will. It's just I want to know what situations that's even useful for, because I feel like they clearly built this up to like show that I thought that was them laying the groundwork of him being more comfortable using his abilities to save them when he needed to.
Right.
But now that they know, how's that gonna go? I don't know.
That's a great point. Great point.
I mean, like, we also know, like, within Kafka's age himself, and he was feeling like some like body sores and stuff. When he did that last blast, he's like, "Yeah, I can't move because my old body is not letting me to." I think
which
that
I
was a
take
drawback.
offense to. Okay, we're the same age. I don't have joint problems. Okay, but he doesn't go to the gym, so that's
he doesn't work out. Oh,
he got that.
Never goes to the gym.
So
but I hope
that'll be interesting. I'm like, because I'm like I also want Kafka to have to do some work to level up, is what I'm saying.
Yes, right. Because he needs to work at like, damn, my joint problems.
You know how it is. It's like, yeah, if he just kind of is like, oh yeah, I can do all this stuff just because of the sake of the plot, that's where it's gonna be like, oh, okay. But it's like, if he has to work harder to use his abilities now, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fine.
You're gonna
like, because now. Yeah,
he's in prison. He's in prison. You might as well work out on there and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's probably. That's
yeah, like Master Iroh, right? Master Iroh be like, yeah, book.
That's also what I want, right? Like, I don't want him at like the end of the story to be able to use like 100% of his power in human form. That's definitely not something that I want. But what I do want is him to be able to use like 40-50% in human form, and he has to transform in order to get to that 100%.
Exactly.
That's what I personally would like.
But
we'll see where it goes, man. Like it could go. It could go either way. I don't care. I'm just so excited.
I get that kind of like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Like without the coin, they're just regular human. But with the coins, without this suit, they actually at least have some power to like fight. And then you go on to take the suit modes when they change.
The Morphin grade is way more OP, but we're not going to get into that.
Yeah, I'm about to say that's a whole different conversation.
Of course. But I'm just saying it's like that in a way.
But no, I love Kaiju No.8. It's legitimately like it's in my top 3 in Jump currently. So absolutely love it. Like if you haven't read Kaiju No.8 and you listen to us talk about it right now, regardless of what point in time you watch this video, stop what you're doing, go read Kaiju No.8. Yeah. Like I'll even tell you right now, pause the video, go read Kaiju No.8.
We can wait. You can come back.
But
I'm starting to like this just as much as My Hero, if I'm being honest. Like in a completely different vein. I fucking love Kaiju No.8.
And that's totally fine.
And it's definitely different, but it has everything that I want into a manga and kaiju fighting and stuff like that. So I understand completely why you say that. Ashton, thank you for another $10 donation. When we go back to Comic-Con or Anime-Con, I'm going to hunt down Kaiju No.8 artwork. Kaiju No.8 is only going to get more popular over time. Oh,
facts, bro.
It's getting very popular right now. It's like copies being sold like crazy, and I'm waiting.
It's flying, bro.
I'm just waiting for a volume cover, because I don't think a volume cover has been out for English yet, right?
Are there physical volumes?
Unpopular opinion, this is going to hit like mid Demon Slayer numbers. Like not quite as high as Demon Slayer, but it's going to have it's going to have a rise like Demon Slayer. It really.
I hope so,
dude.
I hope
right
so.
After this is way better than Demon Slayer.
Right after it gets animated, which it will, it's going to explode.
Yes, like Kaiju's like. If people like Godzilla vs. Kong for what it was, imagine Kaiju No.8 with an actual story that involves Kaijus. Fuck yeah, this would do amazing.
I mean, like I think that the whole Godzilla vs. Kong movie, like literally, this Kaiju No.8 could actually use this as promotion of, oh, you love kaiju genres and stuff, you will love Kaiju No.8
They
manga.
could make this live action, bro, and it would be dope as fuck if they did it correctly.
Yeah, but if they did it correctly.
I mean, Japan does a lot of Sentai heroes and stuff like that, so I could definitely see them working like that with live actions and stuff.
That's the thing. I don't want Japan to make it, because they tend to make them so much like an anime, and anime does not translate to live action. True. Which is why the Full Metal Alchemist movie doesn't really work for me, right? It's also why the Bleach movie was just like okay, because they're trying to do the anime tropes that don't work live action. It just doesn't translate. So I don't want them to do it.
Sell the license to the folks that do the Kamen Rider series, and we'll be fine.
That's Bandai, right?
I don't know who has it in Japan because we don't get Kamen Rider over here. So yeah, let the folks who do Kamen Rider in Japan do a live action Kaiju #8 and it'll be lit.
All right, so hopefully everyone enjoy our Kaiju #8 talk review of chapter 33. Overall thoughts of what we hope to see in chapter 34 this coming Thursday. Let us know what you guys think about it in the comments down below. So, my hero talk. For those that have been waiting, for those that always check out Shonen Ronin episodes, we do My Hero Academia and Black Clover, but now we're changing up and adding on the series and adding other conversations. Like in 2 weeks, we'll be adding JJK on May 30th, and now let's jump into My Hero Academia chapter 312. James and Ray, like always, me and Sam do reactions, and you guys give our first thoughts in this section. So talk to us. What do you guys think?
James, what's up, man?
I have to be honest. I don't think this was a bad chapter, but I was just a little underwhelmed, and that's totally because of my own personal expectations, right? Like when I saw this badass sniper at the end of the last chapter, I was like, oh man, like this is gonna be like this great like grudge match. We're gonna see Deku being able to like use his like super speed and like black whip and stuff to like try to get away from her sniper shots. But then it's kind of more like story filler, right? Like where she came from, like why she decided to take Overhaul, and then we find out about, you know, All for One and the job that he gave her and all that stuff. So while it is cool, I was just a little underwhelmed, but I know that's because of the expectations that I put on the chapter. But I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I also like this chapter a lot. It was one of those things where I'm like, okay, we saw Deku take out Muscular with no problem. And they were like, yeah, it's cool. You fought Muscular. Go do that. Then this chick shows up and Hawks is like, hey, you should probably run, bro. Come on, man. like I get that you're trying to make her seem like super powerful and like ruthless, but it's like Deku just fought Muscular with like no problem. Muscular flipped half a building, bro. So it's like, oh, all right, cool. But it's like, yeah, this chapter was fine. Like I said, this wasn't like a big, yes, and we have to have chapters like this. It's fine. Then Horikoshi's like, y'all been yelling at me about the hot waifu sniper lady. Here you go. Here she is. And she works with All for One. Have fun. Essentially. So I'm like, and now we also know what the goal is.
Right.
To kidnap Deku and, use that in some way. So I was thinking of something earlier when we were kind of like talking earlier, and my mind wandered into My Hero. Remember when, and this goes back a few times, remember when they talked about why he needed Shigaraki and his rage?
Right.
Yeah.
What if both of the quirks have to be in rage for it to be taken? Because then it makes it easier for them to take One for All if it's feeling the same powerful emotion as All for One.
That makes sense in my eyes.
And so in that situation, they have to make Deku mad. How do they make Deku mad? I don't know. Like we've seen it happen. We saw, and I feel like they'll reference that flashback when Bakugo got hurt, and they'll be like, "Hey, when Bakugo got hurt, he flipped out and was completely different."
So I'll answer that question and Denzel's question at the exact same time. So I think they capture All Might, and that's what pisses Deku off, and that's how they get Deku to come to where they are, because Deku's gonna go save All Might.
Yep,
potentially.
I don't know, because I feel like because this is hard, because this is where I totally see the Gran Torino Nana moment. You're not ready for this yet because this isn't part of the plan. But then I also see Deku saying the plan and going in anyway. So I can see it going like a few it's spider webs from there. I think like it can go a few different ways. But I absolutely think it's All Might getting kidnapped for sure. Because who is the easiest person to kidnap right now? All Might. Right. Like that's literally the easiest thing they can do.
And you can ensure that Deku will come after him.
Like,
yes, for sure.
Guarantee that. Yeah.
And Hawks and Endeavor and Jetus can't save them by themselves, so Deku has to go. So I absolutely see that happening. Like that just makes sense to me. So I don't know. I'm curious to see how, because they keep talking about these emotions and with these quirks, and so I feel like that has to come into play.
For sure.
Has to. So, but yeah, this chapter was fine. I thought it was cool to kind of like get her background. So it's like, I was like, okay, so you clearly don't want to tell us who she actually is because they gave her hero name and not her actual name.
Right.
So it's like, who are you?
What hero did she kill?
Exactly.
That's my other big question.
And like, why does she feel like the whole hopes of heroes is a sham? Because it seems like not last.
Well, I mean, I feel like that's what we're gonna.
We know why, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna find out. She killed. I'm pretty sure she killed another hero because they were doing some shady shit. Like I guarantee it.
Yeah, because look where she works. Look where she works in the Safety Commission, and she works with Hawks. They do the shady shit that people don't know.
So I feel like it was one of those things where she was like working with the Safety Commission and doing her thing, but then she found out that a hero was doing some shady shit that they shouldn't have been doing, and so she was like, "I know you gotta go," and she did her job, and they threw her under the bus. So,
yeah, 100% agree.
That's exactly what I think as well.
That's exactly what I'm assuming happened to this character because it's just that's the air she gives off about her. It's like, y'all literally betrayed me for doing my job. You told me to do this, and then you literally let me go to jail. So
yeah, I see her much like Stain, where I think she has like her own like sense of justice. She doesn't see the hero society doing what actually needs to be done to preserve, the health and wealth of society. So she became a vigilante and did her own thing, and they put her in prison for it.
Yep.
I get that completely.
I was gonna say on that topic about what Chad called her sexy sniper.
Waifu Sniper is a much better name. Please stop calling her that whack ass name. She's the Waifu Sniper.
Waifu Sniper that I called dibs last week and everything. What do you guys? Because Ray brought it up, but I want to hear everyone's thoughts about Hawks telling Deku that if he gets to approach her or she approaches him. James, and how did you feel Hawks telling him to run away?
I mean, Hawks doesn't know the full extent ability of All For One. He just has some good knowledge and insight. But we know like she's the greatest snipe shooter?
Marksman.
Marksman.
And like that's much better than the 25th hero, Snipe, but we don't know too much about him.
I mean, they actually told us everything that we needed to know about him in this chapter.
Yeah, that was perfectly said.
She's more dangerous.
If she didn't exist, he would have been the #1 marksman in Japan.
Yeah, top one.
That's all we need to know.
And she said 3 kilometers? Yeah, which is very, very far away.
Not even with her quirk.
Not even. It's all skills.
He said with skill. Technical skill is how she does that. And I'm like, that is impressive. Don't get me wrong.
That is impressive. That's a skill that not a lot of people can have. Like, that's a good eye coordination and know how to get your marksman. Like, you know about winning and everything. So that's
technically superhuman. But yeah.
And she uses her hair as bullets.
Yeah,
and she can craft every type of bullet. That was the big deal to me. I was like, oh no.
She can make hollow.
They made effort to tell you about hollow points for a reason because those bullets are nasty.
It's like
Red Forest. Really appreciate that super chat. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Deku is definitely ready for this fight. He probably has a stat sheet of the escaped villains.
Oh, he absolutely does.
Definitely does.
Absolutely. So I mean, I thought this was kind of like I thought this was selfish of Hawks because remember he casually has that throwaway line up. Oh, that's something I've been meaning to take care of.
Yeah.
And so he tells Deku to run, and I'm like, okay, bro.
I mean, he tells Deku to run because I mean, why get involved? Period. Right? I mean, like,
well, probably
why get into an altercation at all where you can potentially be injured because there's a much greater task.
But more.
I mean, go ahead.
I feel like he's telling her to be careful because he knows Muscular Man, for example. Muscular Man is just a regular crook villain
who's
is
Muscular
just
Man?
Father. Okay, he's just father. Yeah?
Okay, father. He's a regular father villain that just got one shot. Not 3-hit combo, one shot. So
are you still salty about that? Get up.
I'm not. I'm just making a joke.
You sound really salty about it. All I'm saying.
The reason I feel like Hawks is giving that, like, hey, be cautious with Lady Naga, is because he knows how skillful she is. He worked with her. That was his superiority. So I feel like he is getting like, hey, be cautious because Hawks knows how skillful and how well she could take him down. And when you are a marksman, you know how to be a good tactician. Maybe that's why she knows how to work against Deku, and plus Deku, doesn't know how to use his quirk. Like, Hawks is saying this with his low knowledge of how All For One works. That's just my guess of why he gave, hey, my boy,
and don't take this for granted, right? Remember, she was assigned to go after All For One alone.
Yes, that is true.
If she was assigned, that means that she has that level of skill. So that's why she's that dangerous. But I also think that is just an added layer of like why engage, right? Like there's other shit that we could be doing. Like I feel like they should fight her all together.
Hey,
Just
so just real quick, what's Deku gonna do next chapter though? Engage.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
So
right?
it's like I thought this was just like him. Like yeah, he can understand the ability of this woman, but I feel like at the same time he also doubted Deku. At the same time, which I mean it's already been shown us that Deku is capable. I don't know, yes, he may not be as capable to take down this person, but he could. Like this person just being out there, bro, is bad news.
Yeah.
As you already can see. So I'm like, yeah, Deku ain't gonna just run. That's not what Deku does.
Yep.
So,
oh yeah, like
you have the music, you say run.
yes. Well, I mean, so you say run implies running towards what you're going to.
towards,
Right,
like
right.
you go run.
So-
And another super chat, Andrew Lovelar said, odds that
Hey.
Deku loses on purpose so he can go see All for One on his own. That could be true. That's a possibility.
So
'cause-
I mean, Deku
That's-
wants to know if All Might's all right though. Like he would need to like.
but he
check
doesn't
back.
know. He doesn't know if his All Might is alright or hurt. He doesn't know that.
Exactly, because the comms are down. All Might
Yeah, the
can't
comms are down.
communicate with Foxen down. He needs to check back if he's okay after Deku engages towards Lady Naganta.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a possibility because, like we talked about before, I definitely see All Might potentially getting kidnapped, and if Deku finds out, I mean, that would be the easiest way to just like pretend to be actually captured and then try to save All Might.
So
But-
I love how chat even said it. Like I felt sorry for Overhaul, or technically they didn't even call him Overhaul. They call him Hisaki here.
Chisaki.
He is literally damaged emotionally, physically, and mentally, which is so true. Because I literally felt bad for him when I read it in the reaction. My dude, like she picked him up, like he was like, "Oh, I just grabbed him because I wanna like see if I could use him in the future and everything." So like that was pretty interesting as well. But I love how Aoba Hisaki called out the boss. So like we were right about that. That Aoba Hisaki wants to see his boss.
What you mean this we? There you go again with that royal we.
Well, we did say this last week. We all agree on it, on your theory about it. We.
Okay. But no, I don't know. I thought this was interesting because we go like I feel like this goes back to this all the time. The person is the quirk. He he can't use his quirk, so he is a broken person. So
Facts.
I'm like I feel like that's exactly what this is. It shows you like what can happen to people. But he keeps saying the boss's name, and that's because now he can't actually go help him like he intended to. He intended to heal that old man when he like had done his stuff, and now he can't, and it like really has messed him up. So I'm like, ooh, we'll see where this goes. I'm really curious. So now I feel like Eri is absolutely gonna take pity on him.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Because of this, I agree as well. Because I felt bad. Like he kept saying like, even in that panel when there were shots in the sky and like the boss, he kept saying, "Gotta get to the boss quick." Like he looked so broken. Like I felt like sadness in his eyes. Like, yo, my man, like, can you walk? Can you get like? He
kinda
needs the
deserves
support.
that, though. He deserves.
Yes, he deserves that. But to actually see a man so broken, like Raven brought up,
did
like
he deserve that, bro? Let's be real, okay?
yes, he did mess up shit, but he
He
had
deserved to go
good
to jail.
intentions.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
deserved to go to prison, not
He didn't deserve to lose his
have
arms.
his limbs cut off. Yeah.
I mean, like you haven't seen like he actually had to cut off limbs from Eri himself too, just so that you can regenerate back and stuff. But
Andrew, we don't know if he could use his legs and use his quirk. Like, we don't know if he's like Deku, like that could use that. Do y'all think that he could, touch the floor and kind of be like Shiraki or something like that?
he
Like,
needs to touch living organism, not like just the ground or rocks.
so you think
or
he
anything.
just
Well,
uses
I mean,
his leg and
that's
touch
not
the chick?
necessarily true, right? Because we've seen him use transmutation on the ground many times, especially when he was fighting like Mirio and
Oh, that's true.
Deku and stuff. So, but still, like he had to touch it with his hand. Who knows? Like maybe his quirk evolves, like because he doesn't have his arms. Maybe it goes to his feet. It's a possibility. Do I think that's gonna happen? Maybe not. But I
Maybe
mean,
not.
I'm not.
He's not
I'm not
really in
Horikoshi.
his right mind. He's not really in his right
By
mind.
the way, Chris, he was buried at the bottom of the prison, so it's fine.
He was.
he went to jail, bro. Like they basically put him under the jail. Like what, a regular jail? No, he was under it. Yeah. So no, he was. That was just
He was definitely
the way that they did that to him would show you that Shigaraki is a worse villain than he is. Straight up.
Oh yeah.
So to also have more knowledge within this chapter, she gets the second quirk from All for One.
Yep.
Which is the airwalk.
You know, we actually don't know how many quirks he gave her.
That's true.
Yes, I was just gonna say that we don't know.
Yeah, because he literally said, "Let us deliver a death blow to those hateful heroes. Consider this a contract between us. Take this as a deposit."
He wouldn't know how strong Deku is.
Exactly, right?
So
that's the thing. It's like airwalk, great.
Mm-hmm.
You can snipe him in the sky, but I mean, you need something else. So I personally think he also gave him something to increase her speed, because she has to be able to keep up with Deku. So who knows how many quirks, but I think one of them has to be super speed of some kind.
Absolutely.
And I'm happy
also
that
against air shots from Deku. Yeah, it's
that, but also I'm happy how Hori is using some One Piece type of abilities as well, because airwalk is an ability that is recent in the years of One Piece. I love how we got smoke for Deku and now airwalk quirk, so that's pretty dope. So I'm curious to see if
is Horikoshi not a fan of One Piece and Oda?
Yes. I'm just saying, which is pretty cool. So I was gonna add, I'm curious to see what else he's gonna bring in the future of other devil fruits as quirks. That's what I was gonna end up with.
One thing I would like to mention that we had not talked about is how All for One knew exactly where she would find Deku.
Yes, literally on a rainy day.
the plan.
Literally on a rainy day. I'm like, hey, just make sure when they're a bit far away and on a rainy day.
Does he have foresight or something?
And this goes back to why he's always smiling. It's because does he know exactly what's happening?
Does he have a time fruit? Time fruit. Like a time quirk?
He knows, like he seems.
I was gonna say the foresight.
It is scarily accurate how much he knew was gonna happen.
I mean, so it's because he's a genius tactician, though. Like he knows that All Might chose Deku for a reason.
There's no way.
I don't care how
Deku thinks
smart
just like All Might, bro.
James, he literally said it word to word. He's likely to have a number of big shots watching over him from a distance. So bide your time until they're split through, perhaps a rainy day at your best bet. Literally word by word. That has Endeavor and Hawks of them watching him. All Might, literally by far, and literally on a rainy day too.
I think that's just a genius level intellect, and he's just a master tactician, bro.
Imagine if he stole Night Eye Quirk. Imagine if he stole Night Eye Quirk while he was dead.
That's lame, bro. That would be lame as fuck.
I doubt that.
Like that would be lame.
There is something else that he's done there. I'm like, there's something else that he knows. Like, cause I'm like, I don't care how much you can plan. It's just like, how would you be able to guess exactly how they would work and when they would be working?
And plus, he knew that he left the school too. He knew that he left the school.
I'll explain what I think. So he knew Deku was going to leave the school because all of these prisoners are out, and him being at the school would put everyone at the school in danger. I don't feel like that's some huge thing that he had to figure out. I think that just makes common sense, right? That's something someone would do. A true hero would not want to put their friends in danger. Therefore, I think it would be a simple assumption to make that Deku would also leave the school.
That one's easy, yes. But it's just like...
Also, for me, I think that Deku would also be surrounded by the top heroes to ensure that All for One doesn't take the quirk from him. So to me, that would make sense that he would know that Deku would also be surrounded by the top heroes to again ensure that One for All cannot be taken and Deku cannot be kidnapped. As far as like the whole fighting him in the rain thing, we'll find out what that means, because he obviously knows that with the quirk that he has, that Deku has, there has to be some type of disadvantage in the rain, or that that waifu sniper has an advantage fighting in the rain. That's what I think. I think he's All for One is just a genius level intellect, and he's a brilliant tactician.
I think there's a connection between the two quirks, so much so that he can see what they're doing and they don't know yet.
I hope not, bro. Like, I don't think that's interesting.
I think it is, because that means that those quirks are that connected. It's the same quirk, remember?
Yes, that's true, but it's like, where's the mystery in that then? You know what I mean? Like,
there's hella mystery in that. It's like,
because
it's Harry and Voldemort.
you have to avoid your person that's watching you the whole time, aka like Deku has to avoid and be on the toes and be quick before Orphan predicts what he said. Because look, James, chat even agree with you. Like they said that he has been doing this for 100+ years of experience. Like in the chat, Act Red Force even said like even dropping out of school, like he predicted these small things like makes you question like how well does he know Deku, or how well does he know the heroes, or how well does he know All Might that will agree to these type of things.
And then on top of that, right, is the fourth user that has danger sense. He's dealt with other One for All users that left everything behind to preserve the quirk. So I think he's working on genius level intellect, being a great tactician, and there were 8 other users that he interacted with to figure out, because he also knows that all of the predecessors are in Deku's mind, so they're all helping him make these decisions. So because he's battled them before in some type of aspect, maybe he knows what Deku might do because of what the predecessors might tell him, in conjunction with him being like a great tactician. But I mean, I don't know. This is just, you know, my theory.
I'll be honest. To me, that's kind of boring because it's the Aizen. I orchestrated everything that you've done. I've seen it happening. That's how I knew exactly.
AKA Aizen.
That's fair.
I could have took it when I wanted to take it, but no, I wanted to play the game and blah. I don't want that. I don't need that. I want it to be more interesting. Like, oh no, I've had this power. I've seen how this is going to work, and it's been defied by you. And so that's interesting to me. It's like, because remember, there's been times where Deku has changed how things were supposed to go.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's like, all right, what else has changed? Like we've seen like loose like timeline shifting type stuff in theory. So I'm like, all right, yes, he could be very smart. I can absolutely like see, like, yes, he's been alive for hundreds of years. So yeah, of course he's smart as hell. But it's also like, but that's really fucking specific, bro. That's really
like,
it is.
He literally said it word by word of what's been going on the plotline in the past 12 chapters. And like, all right, cool. All for one. What the fuck happened here? Even chat said it like, this could be a theory. Maybe he chose a rainy day because Endeavor will not be able to use this quirk for power. So that's one of the chat said as well, and that could be a possibility. You know, I'm not sure how strong Endeavor's fire.
Genist. There's Deku, Hawks, and Genist, right? Like,
well, I mean,
cutting out Endeavor wouldn't be that big a deal. Like, Waifu Sniper cannot take out all 3 all at once.
Right. So I mean, I just think that was convenient. Like honestly,
yeah. I'm like,
that's just a little too convenient. So I'm real interested. I'm real interested to see when we get that breakdown from him. It's like, well, how did you know all of this? And it's like, yeah, there's a lot of different ways that it could just be that he put it 2 and 2 together. He's like, I've been alive for a long ass time. Y'all are predictable. You know what I'm saying? I could absolutely see that. But it's like,
yeah, because I mean, a true hero's mentality is pretty much going to be the same. Preserve your friends and family, preserve the civilians. Therefore, Deku leaving the school because Deku knows that everyone would flank the school trying to get to him. So that's easy. That makes perfect sense. And like I said before, like I feel like he's been through a battle with the 8 predecessors before that he would be able to somewhat figure out a pattern that they would follow. But I mean, I'm with you, Ray, too. Like, if it goes that way, I think that would be brilliant. The fact that these 2 quirks are so connected, because like you said, One for All comes from All for One, right? So the fact that they're connected, that is interesting. I'll take that back. That is very interesting. If it goes that way, I wouldn't be upset. But for me personally, I kind of like the side of All for One just being a genius tactician and just like.
I mean, and you know, it also absolutely is probably both. Like straight up, like it's absolutely both. I mean, like we keep saying, like I feel like experience has been a very, 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 very important factor in this entire series. And who has the most experience? All for One. He literally has the most experience. So
and plus, I love what Chad's bringing up. How All for One reminds them of Aizen and Dawn. Like those are 2 great villains from 2 great mediums.
I mean, yeah. I just think that All for One's better than both. I'll be very honest.
Yeah.
He just is.
Yeah.
He's been very successful in what he does for a very long time.
He's been very successful because he has outlived 6,
I mean,
7
if you really think about it though, he's only taken 1 L, and that was to All Might.
Yeah.
Like when his face got messed up.
Yes, that's the only L he's taken.
Because I mean, think about it again, right? He knew in that second fight with All Might that he would end up in prison.
Exactly.
He wanted to end up in prison so that he can release all of the prisoners, so that he can disrupt the Hero Society, so that he can do all of these different things. He's been planning this for so long. It would just make sense to me that he would be able to figure out what a true hero would do, because they usually have the same type of mindset. You know what I mean? They're not willing to put the lives of their peers on the line, which is why people like Hawks exist. Hawks is able to compartmentalize to do what needs to be done, and that's not all heroes can do that. So Hawks is more of a wild card, where Deku is kind of like the basic like prime like hero. You know what I mean? So I feel like his actions would be easy to follow.
So see, and this is why like it's easy and complicated, because Deku goes against everything that heroes have been up to this point.
Right.
Yeah.
Aside from All Might.
Right.
And so while he would be like, okay, well, yeah, All Might did the same stuff, but Deku is like the true hero soul, is what I'm saying. So he's he knows that he'll risk life and limb for any and everybody, but he also has the power to back it up. And like a lot of people, like he has multiple powers to back it up. Like we've seen how he's built him out to be this literally utilitarian hero. Like he's full of utility, and we still have 2 quirks that we don't know about technically, right? I don't think we don't know about the other 2 quirks yet.
Not yet.
Not been revealed yet. No.
So I feel like there's still a lot of stuff that can happen here. A lot.
We had a theory about one of them, but
I think I might have another theory of why Rainy Day, because the smoke quirk can't really do well with rain, right?
That's true. That's
also
true. A good point.
You want because if you're fighting against a sniper, you want to have some cover. You want to get some cover grounds and not be able to see. Right?
Well, then again, because I'm pretty sure in this chapter, he uses like the smoke screen like from the bullets to like get away or something like that.
Yeah,
so it does. So it does kind of create like there's still a little bit of smoke maybe.
But probably not as strong or as smoke, because I'm looking at it. I don't see him use the smoke.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, can we be real for a second? If you're a sniper, a rainy day is the worst day for you to be trying to shoot somebody.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm more confused too. So like, but still, like, she still is a great marksman. Like, she's the #1 in Japan. So for her to still,
but what I'm saying is, it's still the rainy day thing. I don't know if I'm paying too much attention to that. It's just I thought that was real like interesting and convenient that he was like, oh yeah, by the way, you might catch him on a rainy day. And
you're
I'm like,
right, bro. You're right. The rain definitely has something to do with it. It's just what, right?
Yeah, what is it? It's like, why? So
like,
I'm just like
there's water,
like
but also
like where like even if it's a rainy day, she's still a great marksman.
I mean, but we know that though. So like, there's no point in like disputing that. We know.
But it being like more towards his disadvantage.
A real marksman would be able to shoot under any conditions, right?
Yes.
Especially one skilled. Yeah, skill to this level.
And this marksman did a whole wanted scene as well, because she spin her bullet to go around the building. I'm like, girl did a whole wanted scene, literally curved the bullet, because he went around the building like Spider-Man with Black Whip, and then literally in that panel, page 6 and 7, he literally was holding that bullet like before it hit him. So that's props to him using his.
Which one of Deku's quirks could even be affected by rain? Like, it doesn't make sense. There has to be some other condition to the rain. Yeah, but how would I don't know?
Like I said,
how does rain help a sniper?
Like,
you can still snipe someone in the rain, but how does rain give you
could
an
water,
advantage?
Could water speed the bullet?
What happens if lightning comes?
Definitely not.
Like to block the sound of the shot.
The only thing that I could see this being is that he knew that they would be operating in rain because it's harder to make out who's doing things in the heavy rain. You know what I'm saying? Because they still don't want people to know that Deku's out here doing the work. So
use the rain as a distraction?
Yeah, use the rain as cover, essentially, for them to do their job. So like, that's still weird.
That makes sense. Chris brought it up. During an interview, Hori said that she's based on Angelina Jolie in Wanted. Makes sense now.
Makes sense.
Interesting.
Total sense. That literally brings it to life, the character, so it makes total sense why. But I just find it so fascinating as well of how curious, because Chat even brought up, I love how All For One is smooth and very persuasive talker. He didn't seem like he was trying to force people to do what they want. He just talked to her, said that I need you to do a job for me, and out of everyone that he broke out, he only asked her, and she didn't really decline. She just said like, okay, sure, why not? like, so I find it very fascinating of how overall
because
literally just
he's a good talker. He appeased to her sensibilities. It's like, I know that you want to take out the Hero Society, and
Yep.
Deku is the shining light of the Hero Society, and I need him gone in order for both of us to get to the goal that we both want.
James
So
nailed
All
it.
for One is a really, really good bullshitter.
Like I
He
said,
knows how to get
he's
people
been
to do what
alive
he
for
wants.
hundreds of years, bro. He
Yeah.
got good. He's got practice. He know what he's
Because
doing. But
she-
he knows almost too much how much of what he's doing. That's why I'm like, what do you know,
yes,
bro?
because she even said like another victim kept down by the wicked Hero Society. Like she knows what it is because he told her like, you seek the downfall of Hero Society, but your dream will never be lived as long as that boy is around. Another one clinging to that phony hopes. So I'm really curious to know like what was her past that we brought up in the beginning of the review. Like what made her betray the Hero Society, or what made her like feel like the Hero Society is corrupted. So I can't wait to see what more of her backstory.
What do you mean? What made her? I mean, she saw the Hero Society for what it was—a bunch of bullshit.
True,
Yeah,
but I'm
exactly
curious to
what it
know
was,
that if her or
Especially when
Stain
you work with the
have a
Hero
connection as well.
Association. Yeah, bro. I mean, probably they would know about each other.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
same agency. Even say as a senior.
Because I mean,
Target?
if I'm being honest, I would also turn against the hero agency if I was a hero. Looking at all of these other heroes who are more interested in the celebrity and all of the different things that they can get from being a part of the hero society, I would become a vigilante and I would be against them. I would not respect any of them, except like the top ones, like Hawks that I know are actually doing the work. Best Genius, All Might. Like those are the only heroes that I would respect. I wouldn't respect any of the others. So for me, it's very simple as to why she would turn her back. Like anyone with sense, I believe, would want to turn against the Hero Society. Now, I do think that she did it in the wrong way. I feel like she should have fought to try to make change within the Hero Society, but we also don't know her full backstory. So that's something else that I'm very interested in finding out.
I love how there's a conversation in chat saying that I love how people said that All for One looks like he's playing heroes and villains with his little brother still during this, and people need to understand that it has always been trying to get the quirk back from his little brother because he wants to. He even told his little brother like, you never finished the book of hero and villains that villains win and everything like that. So I love that conversation about that. Like this has always been a game of chess, and All for One has always been winning in a way.
Yeah.
But
I'm kind
Sam,
of glad that there's no break. There's no break next week, which is really cool. We're gonna
that's
learn
true.
more about Lady Nagant. But so we're gonna actually get more character build from her. But yeah, it's just gonna be built on like interest of a new female hero or ex-hero in this situation. But I'm definitely gonna say she does remind me of like a Deadshot or Deathstroke kind of comparison, kind of person. Just
So,
because of
I don't know. This is interesting. So I'm looking through this again, and on page 6 and 7, there's one panel that he like makes a point to show us, and I'm like, okay, maybe that is one of the other quirks, because it's like it looks like when
which panel?
they shot that thing at so the very last panel, I think on what page is this?
7.
Oh, on
Makes a point to
her.
show that, and it looks
of
very
what?
similar to the effect as last time. When
Of
he was
her, she's
deflecting
nuts?
that shot from that one dude.
No, the
Oh.
dialogue doesn't matter.
The
Just
dialogue doesn't
the
matter.
panel.
No,
Just
yeah,
the
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 panel.
the dialogue is coming from
So you're
So
talking
I'm
about
like,
what we
that's
spoke about
interesting.
last week of saying that he might have the second or third quirk like a shield type of thing, like some type of
I
invisible
mean, he
shield.
does have them. We just don't know what it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
So-
his arm really did take that hit and shot. Like, it
Well, I
really
mean, because it caught him off
breaks his
guard.
Yeah.
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 But the second shot, he deflected. So I'm
It could
curious,
be.
what's up with this?
Yep, I
li-
still think one of them's a shield, and then we'll find out whatever the last one is.
But yeah, we should also talk about that one of his arm gauntlets is broken. So he's also now at a slight disadvantage with him using his strength.
Oh
So,
yeah,
In
his
one
arm.
arm anyway.
In
Yeah,
one
yeah,
arm.
one arm,
Yeah.
one
Yeah,
arm.
Yeah.
in his left arm. Damn,
Uh-huh.
they damn bruise and everything still there. Shit.
I mean, well, that's showing you how powerful these shots are.
Yes.
So
It's crazy.
I mean, because doesn't he say basically that like Bakugo's shot is nothing on this.
Yeah, nothing compared.
And that's bad. That is very bad. So, but yeah, no, she goes blocking 2 of my shots. That's a first.
That means a lot of people have never blocked 2 of her shots like that, because a lot of people is not like she's kind of respecting Deku in a way because she's impressed.
Oh no, she absolutely. She that's what that line means.
Yeah.
Like that's a first. It's like, okay, so now I'm gonna have to like do something else, and then so she's like, all right, fine, I'm gonna start using the stuff that he gave me to go after him. You know. So,
like some parting gifts.
The deposits. That's what he called it. Which was crazy, which is funny because when Hawk says like, I mean, they don't have any preserved fresh quirks factor. Have you met All for One? We don't know how much quirks he got, and he's giving him to like the criminals. He gave it to a jailbreaker, and it was an ex-hero in fact. So
that's the other thing that we don't talk about a lot. We know that All for One has at least 14, right? And we've seen maybe 9 of them. Yeah. Right. Like, what are the others? Like, what is he still holding back? So
or maybe he just like, or maybe he's like, yeah, I don't really need to use it. I don't need to use it for myself. But if I see someone that works for me that could use it beneficial for me, I'll give it to them. Because it doesn't seem like, because we know that Quarks is pretty much can be as another person, like their own consciousness. But only All for One can hear it. But if he were to transfer a quirk to another person, they don't hear it. Their consciousness of that quirk's original user.
I think they still have to a degree. You know, like I think if the quirk is transferred, that person that is being transferred to should still get like the memories of whoever the original quirk belonged to, right?
Because we do know, like, if you have
that's what we think, unless All for One figure out a way to really drown them out.
And we also know, like, if you have multiple quirks, your life expectancy like decreases.
Because wasn't it something to the effect of like, yeah, if you take the original quirk from the original person, their personality comes with it. But if he takes a copy of the quirk that the doctor was using, like he was basically making copies of the quirk for him to take.
Right.
Yeah, it's different, right? I don't know if I might be making that up, but
no, you're right.
And we know like that the big body All for One only has a copy of the All for One quirk.
Yeah, now.
Yeah.
So I mean, if anything, all this chapter did was make me more interested for the next chapter. Like this happens sometimes. Like this chapter made me absolutely more, because there's a lot of like little things that happen that we need questions answered for.
So, question for you guys: do you think that All for One chose to copy his quirk to give it to Shigaraki because he didn't want Shigaraki to have his memories?
Potentially, yes, absolutely.
I can see that.
To know like what he's really planning.
Absolutely. Well, I mean,
most likely.
Wait, but no, didn't he give him the full? He gave him the main quirk.
Yeah, he gave him the main one.
That's true. He has the main one, and All for One is using the copy. That's true.
Interesting.
Yeah, the copy that left over.
And the main quirk is trying to take over Shigaraki. So
that has the mind. That's the mind of All for One.
Oh, it's because he still existed in the quirk, so he can make sure he didn't get his memories.
That's true.
Yeah, that's
also true.
Yeah, because
maybe that's
because All Might still has a copy of the quirk of One for All, but he cannot use it because his body is hurt and the limitations on it.
No, he transferred.
No. He transferred it.
So that quirk works differently. He transferred that quirk completely to Deku.
It's what's literally what Deku's seeing is
it's just
All Might's soul.
So it's just that All Might he became the embodiment of the quirk because he didn't have one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still a lot of theories with the quirks
and
transfers.
Like I said, I'm
awesome.
I love it. That's why I love the series so much.
The quirk exchange.
Horikoshi's a fantastic writer. He's built in so many like small, complicated nuances that are interesting. It's not that they're complicated for the sake of being complicated. They're complicated and interesting.
Yes, definitely, 100%.
I have so many questions. Like, why does All for One think that she's the best person to capture Deku? Because she's essentially an assassin. Like, is she able to like use the rounds as like a way to like put him to sleep or something? Like I don't know, like a net round. Like, why her? Like, what's so special about her that he needs her to capture Deku? If he wanted her to kill him, that's different.
So
but
you know,
to capture him.
What I think also, it goes back to what her quirk is. When she twists those two-tone hairs together like a poxy, they hard up as strong as any ammo out there. everything from curving rounds to hollow points, I reckon, which I also would assume could be tranquilizer darts.
That
so she can hit him with a trank potentially.
Okay. That and also I was gonna bring up that shows the one for for one respects her a lot, because we never have seen him give respect to anybody else other than Doctor and Pochiraki. So to know that he actually told somebody else to do this job and like gives that respect that she's at the high caliber as well.
I would like to also say, like, her quirk just specifically says rifle, and all we know that we've seen so far is sniper rifle. But there are many different kinds of guns that's rifles. There's assault rifles. There's also, like, literally AKs. All the stuff that she can come into. That's a good point, dude. And, like, everybody would think, like, all right, all I have to do is get close to her, have a hard shot for me to fight, and then maybe I have the advantage. Nope. I'm going to switch guns. Like, that's the whole point of having a sniper, is they actually have a small handgun with them in case someone gets too close to them, that sort of way.
So that was curious to know, you would have to have something for is she going to pop a handgun?
I think it's the same. If you look at the flashback image and then you look at her current rifle, I think it's just a rifle arm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I feel like it's just like
she can just change up the rounds and like the fire rate.
That's what's important is the rounds. So but yeah, I think it's because she can make a tranquilizer dart. He knew that she could do it without actually hurting him.
Maybe that's why her hair is so short, because every time she plugs some hair out. I don't know. That's just my assumption of how. I don't know if her hair grows automatic. I don't know if her hair is.
I mean, she's literally ripping it out. So.
Yeah. That's gotta hurt, man.
Yeah,
literally. Like bullet.
Cooldown time is
if you also like any marksman, she would probably make bullets ahead of time too. So I'm sure she has a bunch that she's like already made.
Right.
So if her hair grows back at a decent rate.
So I see a similarity between her and Hawks together, where Hawks has a limited amount of feathers, and for her it's about the hair.
Literally,
they're gonna have to be like both need time for it to grow, for like literally more ammunition, for more what she can do and stuff like that. So this entire special organization knows what they're really doing for long runs missions and stuff like that.
What I'm saying is, all for one knows too damn much, bro.
It does, man.
And I'm like, please don't just tell me it's like, I've been alive forever, I'm smart as hell, that's how I know. Yes, that's fine, but I also want to know why.
Yeah, because it still makes me curious to know that he literally said, like, hey, he's going to leave UA, he's going to go upper solo, he's going to have some big shots. And on a rainy day, like, the rainy day still makes me curious to know, like, why the fuck a rainy day?
That's the only thing that's like, okay, this doesn't, until we find out more information, that is the only part that's like, that has nothing to do with him being a tactician until we learn more information. Those other two things, like for me personally, I think they're easily explained because that's just, I mean, it would be easy to predict what a hero would do in certain situations.
Exactly.
But the rain, bro, like why? What's so special about the rain?
I still think it's
damn specific.
I still think it is so like Deku doesn't use the smoke quirk to help.
I mean, but let's.
That's
the thing, right? You can still have a shit ton of fog while it's raining. So that's the thing.
The thing I want to debunk about that is that based on how powerful she is, it doesn't matter how far away he got with the smoke. She could hit him.
Yeah,
that's how good she is.
She would still need to see to be able to hit him.
I mean, that's what I'm saying too. Like, it can be raining, and there can still be very low visibility if there's fog.
How did she shoot him around the building if she needs to see him, bro?
Right, that too, right?
That's all I'm gonna say. She shot him around the building.
She literally didn't want it.
Wasn't Deku with going around the building to get cover, but then you just took a shot around the building to
she
take
still couldn't see him. She had to shoot. She just had to shoot it.
Imagine if the other quirk she got is the one where she knows her target. Like once she has lock, she always got lock on him, no matter where they go. I was just gonna say
like some type of tracer round.
Potentially.
It just makes sense.
Like,
and yo,
I
chat.
just think she is interesting enough because like you see the bullet go around the building, literally.
Yeah, she has zero visibility.
She has no sightline on him. Unless she just assumed that he was going to go around the building that way. But still, the bullet goes around the building.
I mean, like, she should at least have some experience of fighting other heroes or other villains that actually try to see if they could hide around the building, get some cover ground.
I'm still just saying the bullet went around the building perfectly. It hit him.
Again,
is wild.
if she was sent after All for One, she has a lot of tricks up her sleeve.
Exactly.
And Smoke would not be.
Girl got skills.
Yeah, exactly. Smoke ain't gonna stop her, bro.
Nope. Yeah, girl got skills for a reason.
We'll see.
Chad got me laughing because they said that it's a pack of weave that hair she got there, so that's funny.
No, she didn't see. I mean, because if you look on page, what is it? Let me go back so you can see this. If you look at the double spread from
6 to 7, yeah,
it literally shows the entire bullet coming from somewhere way off screen.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, she's very, 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 very adept. I don't think Smoke's gonna stop her, bro. So something else up with this Ray.
Because it's like the other thing about like, because I mean the rain has nothing to do with Endeavor, Genist, or Hawks, because he also, All for One, also told her to wait until Deku is separated from the rest of them.
Meaning so the rain has him too.
Exactly. So the rain has nothing to do with the other three because he told her to only attack when he's separated, when he has distance from the others. So I don't see the rain have anything to do with them as well. So it's like, what is it?
So, I mean, you know what? Oh my God, because this makes me think that like he knew that somebody was going to do something to All Might, and he figured that will be the way to have him like completely distracted at the same time.
Yeah, because we still don't know nothing about All Might right now, like what's going on with him. Because all we saw was in the panel of 4 and 5 that the cards are there, like she might take a target to 2 as they get, target. She might target
Where
them
Aniki
2
at?
as they
I
get
need
closer.
Aniki. What do you think about this damn rain thing? He probably like, why y'all talking about rain? Did you not see the thing between her fingers on page 3? I don't know, bro. So maybe she's not a Pokemon, Kieran. I'm kidding.
And yo, shout out to Kieran as well here for pulling up here on our My Hero section as well.
So I mean, I don't know. I'm curious about this character. Like, if anything, I'm more curious just about her. Like, I'll be honest, I don't care about her, but I'm more curious to know what she's about. That's what it is for me right now.
Same.
That's why when Vash called dibs, I was like, I don't care. I'm curious. Like, why do you matter to this? Like, why? Who are you connected to besides Hawks, and how? Like, I gotta know.
Yeah, because you said your theory last week about that she might be Momo's older sister or something like. Yeah.
I think she's related to one of the students. And like if you would think like, yeah, if one of your peoples was a hero and they went to jail, nobody would want to talk about that.
Yeah. They would bury all of that information too.
Oh yes,
maybe
just like they buried all the shit with Endeavor. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And maybe that's what Momo, tries to strive. That's what she tries to be the best one there.
How many people she's murdered? A lot.
So I was looking up what was exactly epoxy putty was.
Epoxy, yeah.
And it says like epoxy is the best, but it will oxidize from exposure. The more extreme your weather is, the faster it breaks down, and even your spray can enable like Krylon, and we'll see the primer better than these.
So are you saying that water is worse for epoxy or better?
I think it means worse for epoxy.
Then what the hell does that mean?
Faster it breaks down, like.
Because I guess you could say, well, choose a rainy now so that when you shoot your rounds, it erodes later on. But why does that matter?
Yeah, exactly. She was in jail.
What does that matter if anyone finds the rounds to like test it? Like everyone would instantly know who it is.
I mean, I don't see it as redundant if she's another family member gone bad. I don't think no, because I mean, we all have bad members of our family, bro. We all have people who made bad decisions. We all do. Like that's a normal ass thing. You know, I ain't never met a family that's like, oh yes, we're squeaky clean and everything's perfect. Because if you are like that, y'all definitely hiding something. I don't care. Like we all have one family member that's made one bad decision that led to them like ruining their lives, like straight up. It's a real thing. So I'm like okay with it as long as it's like not a focus. It could literally just be a tie. That's it.
You know what? What if the rain is there to cover all of their tracks? Like what if the plan? Again, the plan is to kidnap Deku. If her rounds will erode from water, then there wouldn't be any traces. There wouldn't be anything for Hawks to follow to put like anything together to like figure out where they took Deku.
That's a very good point.
The rain would also block like footprints.
Yep.
And stuff like that. So maybe
that could be. It could literally be that simple. Straight up.
Yeah, but I mean, there would still be impact points on like the buildings whenever she misses a shot. So it's like you wouldn't be able to find what round was used.
I mean,
But you would be able to tell like attack patterns.
There's
right?
only been one impact that she's left. That was the one where she shot the phone. All the other ones
Right.
they've all hit Deku.
Yeah. So maybe that's the case. Maybe the rain is there because All for One knows that it would be able to wipe out all evidence once Deku's been kidnapped. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely possible. But yeah, so I mean, and Speed, you bring up a good point. She might be similar to Hawks, but I mean, but I'm not gonna go too far to that because Hawks did have a family before he ended up there, but still, it's like maybe, I don't know. So
that's a love Chris comment.
The whole stream is gonna be about the rain.
Yeah, bro.
You get this whole segment, rain. Right here, the title of the review, rain. What is it? What could it mean? What is it all about?
Yeah, bro.
But there's something very interesting about it. And what else were comments? She has been evolving every chapter she showed up. Yes, because like she's right now a key moment in the past 3 chapters. So she's actually like curious to know what evolves about her and how important she is, or is she gonna be a one-off type of villain? Like, is she gonna show up and then never pop up again? So like, is she important actually, or is she just some informational character for us to know about Hawks?
Keep the other heroes from helping wet feathers. Who got feathers? Ain't nobody got feathers no more. Hawks ain't got no feathers, bro. Hawks is just Ox now. He ain't got no H no more. Dobby burned that off. But maybe, who knows? I feel like it's probably just a real simple thing. I just think like the most important part of that to me is like how specific All for One was about it. Like I'm like, that was oddly specific, and I'm like, maybe it's just the fact he was like, it's just a lucky guess. Who knows?
Sure.
But yeah, right. That's what I'm like. Yeah, sure. So that's the only thing that really drew my attention to that line was that he said it. So, oh, we'll see. But I love this. I love this damn story. The story's good. Like I said, this chapter wasn't like super big brain for me, but it's like
Aniki's here.
Is he here? There he is. See. I told y'all. It makes sense. He knows.
Yeah, it does.
It's like we always cling on every word that All for One says because he knows certain information. We just
Wait, hold on. Aniki, pull up.
Oh shit.
Yeah, there he is.
I got him. I text him. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna see if he's free right now, real quick.
We talk long enough.
What's up, bro?
What up, BB?
What's up, Aniki? How you doing?
We can't hear you. We can't hear you, man.
I can't hear you yet. Don't speak the truth until I can hear you.
Yeah, hold up. Make sure. Church, God.
Are you with us, God? Are you with us, Father? No, we can't hear you.
Nope. Come on, Pastor. I need you to deliver this sermon.
A bit of audio technical fatigue. So hold up, guys.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we hear
there
you.
Hey, all right.
My boy, I was just about to say, hey, pull up.
All right.
Don't worry. I got the link ready to him. I'm like, yo, cool, cause you're free, and like, cool, there, boom, link, there.
Right.
So we've been talking about this damn rain for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, we were. That's why I said, like, yo, hold up. I need to give us more details about this rain because we were trying to figure, like, why does he know rain? Why does he figure out about Deku trying to leave the school and be solo and everything? So tell us, why does he know about this rain?
Okay.
Go ahead, Aniki.
Okay, so the rain thing, that's more about him addressing the fact that Deku isn't going to have like telescopic vision. He's not going to have. So this is more over him like addressing creating a scenario where he has a combat advantage, where he can actually where she can actually like kind of snipe him out. And in addition to that, though, since he's hopping around a lot, it's going to make the terrain wetter. In general, it makes it harder to be like an on the ground runner trying to escape. So he has to like do the flying thing, which makes him an easy target, and it's easier. So he's less likely to be on the ground next to people.
Right.
So there's no traffic going to get in the way. He's going to be up in the air constantly, very clear, visible while she's up in the air too, keeping him within her sights. So this is more about optimizing around forcing Deku to utilize float and black whip so that he's not near the ground and she can have clear shots. He can't see as well, like somebody mentioned, like get water in his eyes. And then in addition to the reason why he would assume that Deku's going to go solo is because the first thing that All Might did after his like master got folded was go into hiding, and then he like popped up in America, like disappeared. Deku can't go back to UA because All for One is directly after him. Shigaraki is after him. He has 2 extremely high tier targets that will target him. As far as he's concerned, I've made it so that Deku can't go to school anymore. Deku can't be there. He can't be there because then I'll just pull up and take him.
Right.
So
and
Deku,
also, fold everybody else that's there at the same time.
Yeah. So it's like Deku cannot be at UA anymore. He knows that. That's the whole. So then on top of that, Deku can't leave the country though because the borders are shut down. So he knows Deku has to be in the streets solo. So then the whole reason why he's got villains going wild is because eventually if Deku's in the streets, he's going to feel obligated to fight. So it creates Deku bait. They thought that he was crushing villains to find All for One. All for One had him crushing villains to find him. He basically just created a trail of bodies. So he was like, all right, eventually you're going to be able to catch the kid out. If it's a rainy night, it's going to be really hard for him to see. It's already like disadvantaged from nighttime, all these other things. You got a scope on your rifle. You will be fine.
And he tired. She caught him while he was eating.
Exactly. He's been running around fighting villains because they've all been going wild. This is basically how Bane beat Batman.
And I'm also trying to figure out how long has she been following him? Because we know it's been a minute.
Deku's been out here for like 2 weeks. It doesn't take that long to notice, okay, like if I'm going to look for the high tiers, I'm going to see what Endeavor's doing. And then like the Jailbreaker thing especially, that was like one of the highest profile villains that got taken out. So then it's like, okay, you follow Jailbreaker and use him because he's going to attract so much attention. And then you notice like, hey, all right, cool. From there, you figured out that's where he is. Maybe you start tracking him. You see him go back to All Might. You're like, cool. That's how you get the trap set for All Might as he's like driving along, and then obviously you see the bomb come out and all that other stuff. So like, she's probably been tracking him since around the time of the muscular fight, and that's probably why that's what we pick up in the story.
Yeah. Also, by the way, can we officially say amen to them dropping the All for One wants overhauls quirk? Shut up! He don't need it, or he would have took it right then.
Yep.
Literally. Like, God, I'm so happy that's over. I am so happy.
And now it's okay. Overhaul is still completely mentally rocked and destroyed.
Yeah.
But maybe she's gonna get value out of him at some point.
Right. And I was like, that was an oddly specific line too. What do you have in connection to him?
It was like what does she want from him?
I was like, because you wouldn't see this dude and be like, oh yeah, he might be useful. Like if you needed a human shield, you go pluck up anybody.
It's like,
you know
is it his connections to the boss? Like, what is it?
She might be. She may have heard rumors about quirk erasing bullets,
right.
So she might be hoping that it's simpler than because like her with a quirk erasing bullet is
anybody's
objectively one of the most lethal forces in the verse.
Straight
Facts.
up,
Facts.
Anybody's getting got if she got those bullets. Anybody.
So
do you think
out here looking for the ultimate bullet for her ultimate rifle?
You're right.
Do you think she's related to one of the students? Because Ray came with a theory last week that she could be related to our girl Momo, possibly.
I mean, could she be a familial relation? Definitely
maybe.
Possible.
Yeah.
It's not something that I necessarily am like, oh yeah, like this is definitely what's being set up.
I'm just like, I hope not. I'm like, yeah, even if it is brought up, it's like kind of like, oh yeah, this is why she's so not confident in herself because she's got so much to prove based on what happened to their family name or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, so, like you could have something like that, like, and that would add like a little extra depth to Momo's imposter syndrome, even though like the sports festival in of itself was a very good humbling.
I hope
like,
so.
Okay,
yeah.
So one of the things that I liked about Momo and Ida, because some people were like, well, what's Ida doing during the war arc? Yeah, Ray, I'm coming at you.
leave my boy alone.
Yeah. So like Ida and like Momo both kind of established themselves in the sports festival, but then they have like different things they have to address in that arc that happened. Like Momo loses her fight like hand to hand, and when she came in, she's the oldest one. She's a recommended student. She drops like in the battle training, she's dropping so much knowledge that All Might has nothing left to say outside of, well, I mean, I guess Ida could have loosened up, which is nothing, right? Like that's nothing.
Right.
So
fair.
And then you have when they get attacked at the USJ, she's got like got her bow out, she's like flexing on these these like low lives, and her and Jiro are tag team, and then she gets out the giant thing, and Kaminari gets to let loose, and they manage to like come down to a hostage negotiation with the villain. But like she didn't necessarily take an L there.
Right.
They took out like 30 villains. She was feeling like good. So then like when she finally has to confront somebody like Tokoyami, when it's like, oh yeah, like sure you can think fast, but like you don't think that fast. And
yeah,
so,
you're smart, but you ain't that smart.
right. And it's like, and your body can't keep up with those thoughts anyway. So now what are you gonna do? And so at that point, she was like, well, damn, like it doesn't matter how fast I'm thinking since I can't actually like box up, which is why like she didn't like she had a strategy but didn't say it to like Todoroki, and he had to like pull it out of her.
That's messed up.
And so that, and then like you see, that's why like after like Aizawa was like, you know, like for real, I just like messed up, and like your strategy worked because of that. It's like, all right, well, sometimes my opponent's gonna make mistakes too, so I just need to be able to capitalize on those when they happen. And make sure that I don't suffer too badly if I do make a mistake, or I have plans for when I do, instead of thinking of it that way. So that's why when you get to the forest training arc, you got Momo, and she gets cracked over the head, and she's like, oh snap, all right, I'm not gonna be able to be generating like combat items. She's not gonna be, you know, pulling out her staff or trying to pull out a cannon, nothing like that. So instead, she's got to be like, all right, cool, let me tracking device. Boom, help in some way, and then like gets that to Awase, and then that's how you get that going, and then she's able to, you know, make sure communal award happens. That's why like that arc can't happen without Momo.
It's true.
And so by the time you get into, you know, the provisional license exam, it ends up being an anime only, but like it's considered that she like is good enough strategically, leads them through it, no problem, boom, done. And that's why like by the time you get to the war arc, it's like, oh yeah, like Momo has been building up towards this, and you know, you see in joint training, she effectively was willing to die to Kendall to make sure that Tokoyami could carry out the fight. Right. So, and that's kind of like what they, especially what they highlight in Match, like if you're not willing to die, you're not gonna be able to cut it on the battlefield. And so you get to by the war arc, and it's like, well, she's like, no, we weren't trained to run away. And like Ida is kind of the same way, where you have him like running ahead, going to Stain, not prioritizing the right thing, not prioritizing the rescue, taking his grudge on, and then, you know, like he figures that out, and then he keeps that lesson and maintains it, like, hey, don't focus on the grudge or possibly like trying to jump Shigaraki, we focus on saving Bakugo. And then you have that carried on where he's like, I don't need to be the one who necessarily passes this round of the provisional license exam, because my job as the class rep, as a person who's going to claim I'm the leader, then I need to be ensuring the safety of my team, because in a real mission, I'm not getting graded on points anyway. I'm just out here saving lives. It's the mental. And so
big brain.
When you get to like the, you know, joint training here, when he like prioritizes saving Ojiro from Kaibara because he knows that matchup can't work, like it's straight up, it's just too disadvantageous, and that like Shoto in theory could hold out against Tetsu. He didn't know that Tetsu came in there as a full-blown AP tank. You know, the same way he came out there with the Recipro, and the difference between like Tetsu and the other members of Class 1B, and I said this on my stream, is that Kendo and Tetsu are two Class B members that perform really well, and it kind of harkens back to the Forest Training arc, because they always emphasize that the thing that makes Class 1A great is their experience. But Tetsu and Kendo are two characters specifically that actually came face to face with death, because objectively Tetsu was shot in the face by a dude. He just happens to have a metal face.
Yep, literally.
Like he was shot by a dude multiple times.
I love Tetsu. Tetsu's that's one of my favorite characters. He's hilarious. I'm like you're the better Kirishima. Don't get me wrong, I love Kirishima, but Tetsu's the better Kirishima. He just is.
Damn, ouch.
So yeah.
Shots fired,
bro.
Yeah, I know.
So that's why, like in the joint training arc, like Ida, when you watch the episode, he just like outshines everybody, because he really like had like the experience. He had like real high tier mistakes that like nobody else has had to make them. Like none of them have made a mistake as big as Ida necessarily.
Oh, big and it's like one of those things where, like, if you think about it, like he's up there with Bakugo, Shoto, and Deku. Like he's had those huge moments that literally change his perspective on what a hero is. And so, of course, like he's gonna show out, is what I'm thinking.
And so by the time, and one of the things you remember is like Ida is like super stiff. He's always like really formal. Like he was like, oh, because even back at the USJ, Ida's arc was about letting go of the fight and running the save instead of because like, if you remember, he's like, well, but I can't abandon you. He's like, no, you're not abandoning us. You're going to get us help. And those are not the same thing. And like, that's something that Ida had to work on. But in turn, as he was like, yeah, like I can do all these things by the book right away. And he had to like learn how to like go, and like he tried to take a different approach, and he goes too extreme because, you know, he goes full throttle. That's that engine quirk affecting the personality. So when we come around to joint training, he's learned from Kamino. He's learned from all these things to like, hey, you got to focus the priority. You don't have to always be chasing the fight, but sometimes you might have to, because he did have to take down Stain with fighting though. And so by the time you get to like this war arc, the trick here is that Ida knows that he's not a flyer, but he knows that his legs are fast enough that he can keep up with the situation. And because of that, he is obligated to stay on the front line to help make sure that injured people like Bakugo and Shoto or whoever has a chance of escaping and getting people off the battlefield. He can't save people if he's just focused on the rescue. He needs to be able to access helping other heroes because his speed is that important. He's one of the fastest people in the verse. Nobody can move as fast as Ida, like on the map. Very few people can, I should say. And so if he's not there helping out, then Ida's failing to fulfill his actual role.
It's like
that's why Ida has to be in the war.
Vigilantes proves that if y'all would read Vigilantes, is all I'm saying. Just read the damn story.
So like
I'm behind. I need to catch up. That's for sure. I'm like 24, 25 chapters behind.
What to say? You were at chapter 24? Like,
no, I'm at like chapter 75, 80 around there. So that's where I was.
Because like
once I get caught up on everything else, I'll definitely dive into.
Because we get a little bit more insight with Ida's quirk from his big brother when the original Ingenium, and like, yeah, we're gonna have to have both brothers are similar, but there are some difference between them because Ida's more hesitant, where his brother he's more like he'll just go on like demand. He'll just go straight forward.
I mean, and I feel like that's kind of why Ida is sort of hesitant, you know?
Yeah, because his brother ended up like he had to take up the mantle of Ingenium because of that. But
and that's why like his arc is kind of like figuring out that like he talks about getting a looser approach when he studied with Manual, but it's like really about being able to properly shift through his gears, knowing when he needs to be at his ultimate like highest gear and when he needs to like dial it back some. And that's why like he's not, you know, like he's talking to Bakugo, he doesn't immediately hard force the issue like you have to get off the battlefield, but he does say, hey, you need to be considering this. And he doesn't try to like force the issue right away because Bakugo was still able to move, and that is just as important to be like having an injured person who is still moving and able to do damage is kind of still necessary. They are facing a threat that serious, and they do need to be willing to make those sacrifices potentially. So you can argue that Ida was realizing he might have to sacrifice Bakugo, but it might be for the greater good.
Right. Man, I love this damn series. It's so damn good. Golly. All right, so where do you think we headed next with this next chapter? You think he about to take that L?
Sorry, I didn't quite
I don't care, Siri. Shut up.
Siri didn't hear it.
You're like, I don't know what you mean. What my hero?
What L? What? Sorry, what L?
She believes in Deku, bro.
Like, I think Deku can impress us this upcoming chapter, because you know, like the 45% movement when he's like jumping on the air, he can get pretty fast, and he might be able to throw out a couple of air forces that hopefully can maybe force her to reconsider her approach. But it is looking like a situation where Deku should be able to be at least incapacitated, and where the only reason he should make it out of this is something like Endeavor intervening, or like Endeavor and Hawks and Genus actually making it.
Yeah,
but
I can absolutely see
also
that.
puts All Might in a weird spot.
It does, doesn't it? It really does. So I feel like that's the true like hanging in the wind, like, hey, what's finna happen over here? But I don't know. I'm really curious to see how he does Deku that, because we've seen Deku do a whole lot in a short amount of time. And so I'm like, all right, well, is it gonna take somebody being very creative to like really get the advantage on him, or is it just like he has to now be more creative than what he's already been to get out of it? So I'm curious.
I mean, usually Deku uses references from his previous like fights and battles as help for reference for different enemies ahead of him. Is there anybody else that he's fought before that's similar or like with the long range attacks, like of Lady Nagata right here?
That I can think of? No.
Yeah, I don't think there was any, right? This is like this.
Yeah, his fights usually have been mid-range and close combat. Has never been long range like this. So this is like
can you count the final boss in the first movie?
Like, nah, because even that, because like Wolfram was making constructs, so he had to like break through like. That's so true. Even that one doesn't count.
Dang, yeah.
Like you could argue 9, and the strategy with 9 was still to get in close.
Right, exactly. It was to get as close as possible.
And he had a close combat to go with that one, so they had double range.
Yeah. I mean, I guess this is a great learning experience for him.
That's true, because he really hasn't had to fight anybody who fights at a distance really well.
Yeah.
If you think about it, he didn't face Snipe during final exams. That was just
right.
That would have been an instant L.
Yeah, and Snipe is a 3rd-year teacher, so it's not like they've been having combat classes with him either.
Right. That's also true. Damn. Okay.
So Deku hasn't had like actual training, like as far as we know in the story, Deku has not had any real meaningful training in engaging with sniper fighters.
And that's why Hawks told him to run.
Not even from his classmates either, right?
No, none of them had the range.
Yeah, nobody had the range. That's really big disadvantage for him. It's like more like, all right, you're gonna be fighting from long range. No practices, no experience. Here, we're just gonna throw this at you. Like, okay.
Right. And that's why like Deku getting such a good grip on his physical range and stuff. It's like cool. The reward that Deku got for training his body and honing it and making it up is not having the complete devastation of his arms. Right. Which I don't know if we talked about this, but it was like, well, if you're going to argue for a return on investment in the story, the fact that Deku's arms are 9 times stronger also has to have a payoff. Yes. It can't just be a payoff of like the damage too. Like both things have to be paid off. Yeah. So that's how we got him being able to function with these mid gauntlets, which you see the mid gauntlets are being destroyed right now.
Yes.
Increase the difficulty of the situation that Deku's in. He's going to further have to be relying on like using Black Whip around his arms. He's going to be having to further rely on hopefully using his smoke screen and like trying to up his speed. So he's going to have to really think about how he wants to apply that. Like maybe actually whipping himself a lot harder than he normally would.
Like,
just
see, because like, a part of me really wants Deku to like have to knuckle down and figure out his own way out of this situation with an enemy he is not at all familiar with and at a complete disadvantage from. Like I want him to be able to use his utilities to figure it out.
Yeah, I'm like, it's really important for his development.
Yeah, I think so. So I'm like, I feel like he comes out of this like even remotely on top is a big W for him. Like honestly, and like and more so than most people would think. I believe it's like this will be big if he actually manages to kind of figure this out.
Because the payoff for this is we've seen him emphasize shoot style, and he spent all this time learning shoot style. But during the war, it was so desperate that all bets were off. It was hit him any way you can, any which way you can, as hard as you can. So now we get a shot. If like these mid gauntlets keep getting broken down like this, where we're just gonna have to see Deku knuckle down and rely on Black Whip and shoot style, and we're gonna have to see what like the actual fruit of the training he's been putting in.
All right, Spider-Man, I want to see what's happening, bro.
That's a fact. I'm curious to see how the comeback is. So, any last final thoughts on the overall My Hero chapter? And Aniki, like, what's your final thoughts? What are you excited for to see?
Man, I'm excited because. I don't know if you guys got around to watching that video on the cults that I did. But in that video a while back, I said like, hey, just so you guys know, we might be getting the introduction of introduction of Russian villains because of the fact that the Russians like supplied the cult with a lot of guns and like weapons. And so the thing about the Lady Nagant is that the rifle was used in the Russia and former Soviet Union as the Mosin's rifle. It was one that they used a ton.
Shit, that's right.
Yeah. So, in fact, it's still technically considered in service, even though it has been produced.
Horikoshi, you son of a bro!
I'm impressed. Okay, interesting.
And that's why I told you it's just a rifle. It's nothing else. It's just a rifle. It's literally her name. She's Lady Rifle.
Interesting. Okay.
Also, I'm glad that Horikoshi killed that whole one leg theory because I was really upset that even took off.
Yeah.
I was like, she's not gonna fire a rifle with just a front foot. That's not how it works.
That's not even something we even considered because
we never even spoke about that.
Never mind. Nope.
It's just how it was drawn. Like, come on, guys.
I literally did like this in the middle of my video to be like, look, perspective. Like,
exactly. Like,
I mean, I don't care if it has a bipod attached to it. Still, like, that's ridiculous.
I'm happy.
It was in the wrong spot anyway. Like,
I'm happy we didn't even talk about it on our last week video, and chat never even brought it up, saying like, do y'all think that you have one leg? No, that's just dumb as hell. Like, people that really thought that she had one leg. I saw it on the timeline, but I didn't even pay attention. I'm like, okay, that sounds stupid. I'm gonna just ignore it. Go continue.
You know, I didn't even see it on my timeline because I don't follow stupid people. So
you didn't expect her to be the peg leg gun or something.
Oh man, but no, this is. I feel like, you know, the more and more I talk about the chapter, the more I got excited for other chapters. I'll be very honest. Like, I'm really excited for the next few chapters. Like, straight up, this got me really excited about it.
I was just excited with the review to really talk about a whole 20-minute section about rain. Like, why is this rain important? So, like, this chapter made me fun and interested, but the review was more fun because they was trying to have a conversation. Like, why does he know about rain? Why does he know about Deku?
Maybe Horikoshi also just wanted to draw a fight in the rain because it looks very good. I'm not going.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Fantastic.
He hasn't done like a classic style fight,
right?
Yeah,
because because he's kind of been emphasizing Shigaraki's point from Encounter. If you remember, he was like, in the middle of the day, anybody could pop off at any time. So overhaul arc, in the middle of the day, somebody popped off at any time. Deka City, in the middle of the day, somebody popped off at any time. Like,
so I'm kind of digging it because it looks awesome. I'm sure this fight
looks very nice.
Incredible when it's animated. It's gonna look so good.
Definitely.
It's like the whole nighttime and everything. So overall, I enjoyed this chapter. I enjoyed the conversation about the chapter a lot more. So I had a great time. Can't wait to see what chapter 313 holds up and what brings up with us and with the audience to know what they think of the perspective, to know about Lady Nagant. What's she gonna bring, and what's her end goal to be working with Hisaki as well, because she's probably felt some type of way to save him for a reason, to know, because she said, oh, it has some type of reason. So I'm curious to see.
I mean, she has some knowledge of herself. Maybe he was one of the targets or something, or his father the target. Who knows? She seems to be like the more high-end assassin kind of thing, who actually has to have all these knowledge and stuff like that.
I mean, she's absolutely an assassin character. Like,
exactly.
One of the things that I speculated is that she was actually conscripted by the Hero Commission to do that assassination, and then it just happened to go public.
And then they dropped her. They're like, "Hey, look at what she did! What a terrible person! We ain't do nothing though." So
she would have been a crown. She would have been crowned a hero if she killed all for one, right? Sure.
It's kind of like the John Walker type of thing. What happened?
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's exactly what John Walker, like, if he killed,
you made
it wasn't,
me.
Yeah. If it wasn't filmed, he would have gotten a Medal of Honor.
Exactly. Yeah. Man, but no, I'm see, now that you brought up the fact that it's a Russian rifle, that
was she the reason why Hawk has to record the meetings and talks and everything to defend himself?
I think that's just basic training for what he does.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just basic training, just to, to kind of hide your own ass, protect.
And you want to have all the information available completely accurate. So that way, if like you die, for example, but you manage to get the recording there, then they still have the information.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
So James, any last thoughts before we go?
No, bro. Give me this next chapter. I want it. That's it.
Yeah, man. I'm just ready for the next one. Hit me.
We're going to talk more about the rain next chapter.
Yes, more rain talk.
More rain.
So definitely, guys, like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to check out Aniki's channel. We will have his link down below in the description as well.
Yes, please go check out Aniki's discussions because they're ridiculous in the best way.
He makes great reviews. He makes great theory discussions as well. So definitely don't forget to check out his content as well. Down below in the descriptions for Ray and James as well. For careful spoilers, villains, and Ray's streams as well, where he'll be streaming every Saturday as Rifa. Definitely check that out, guys. See you guys on the next one. And pancakes on cheese.